Good evening to everybody here. I actually felt bad for Fester because I saw him backstage with the what do you call it, the light bulb in his mouth. It was like, and I could tell by his eye contact. He's like, "Will you bring me on so I don't have to keep on sucking this light bulb?" But I want to say welcome to everybody. But how you
Hey,
doing?
Jack.
Good to see you.
Oh, I'm good. Hey, listen, I was listening to the theme music. I was in good shape.
Okay.
I
I
was
just
in
wanted
good
to make
shape.
sure.
I'm rocking my Raiders United tonight.
Yeah, I saw that. Which is twofold because I'm sure it's cold up there. It's
Oh
gotta
yeah.
be. It's gotta be.
It's in the 20s. It's in the 20s with a little bit of wind.
Okay, I'm gonna blow your mind. It's actually scheduled to go down to the 30s here.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was windy too. And I'm sorry. This is the time of year when it's hard to find something on TV. And I put on, was it The Other Guys? With Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. And right now I'm
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at
Yeah.
the Spanish chick. I love her. I love her. I can't remember her name, but it's like she's my next ex-wife, and because it got
Okay.
turned to low anyway. Uh, so yeah,
Well, how are you, my friend?
I'm good now that I'm looking at cleavage. So that's
There you go.
it's always good to
There you go.
jumpstart the heart. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. And of course, I don't mean to shout this out as an early pat on the back, but next week I make another trip around the sun.
All right,
Next
outstanding. So
Tuesday.
you're hitting your 19th birthday.
Mhm. 19th. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Well, I was born in the 1900s.
there's not a lot that can say that nowadays. Actually, there's a lot more that can say that, but there's getting fewer and fewer. That wasn't it. Somebody says that we are actually farther away from World War II than we are from. There was dates, and I can't remember what it was, but it's like it made me feel quite old. Made
Yeah,
me feel.
I think it was like Pearl Harbor. I think we were something like I can't remember, but I think I remember that reference.
Yeah, it just blew my mind because I was like, yes, just yesterday. There's a lot of people in here today.
Yeah,
Captain
look at that.
Ranger and Bishop and Kenna and Mike and Jack Westafeste. We got a packed house already.
I think everybody's excited now, and we know we're getting the number one pick, and yeah, I think everybody's starting to look forward.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And here's I want to put this up. According to Bishop, who does have his ears on sources within Vegas, what's his name? Cognetti, something Italian.
Yeti. Yeah.
Yeah, something Italian. Could become our new coach. Okay.
That's not gonna happen. No.
No.
He might be an offensive coordinator. They could bring him in as an OC.
Right.
But,
See
but he is not going to step up and be a head coach. No.
Right. That I can see. I can see him, and I said on the show last night, my hot take was that Robert Saleh is going to emerge as the head coach once the Niners are eliminated. They will have gone through a couple different coaches that they've had the interview for. I like the fact that they interviewed Davis from the Broncos, who is purely like a quarterback's coach or something. They've got some good interviews. Yeah, but I think it's going to end up being a name coach. And if they bring in Cignetti, right? Is that what it is?
Cignetti, yes.
Yeah. If we get Mendoza and bring Cignetti in there to run his offense, that would make it, at least favorable to the quarterback, but not as the head coach.
Yes, my guess is this. I think if we think that Spytek and Brady are together and they're like building this thing from the ground up, they're going to go with a young guy, but I think they're going to go with somebody who's got a little bit of NFL experience,
Right.
at least. So you're looking at the offensive and defensive coordinators for various teams. Signetti's a sexy name, sure. And of course, as Indiana has just devastated everyone and of course have shown everything, I could see Signetti being brought on as an offensive coordinator again, but I don't think he's got the pedigree to be able to make that step up toward head coach. I don't think that Spytek and Brady would trust that leap.
Well, I was going to say, according to Sack Tom, and again, I don't know either. Signetti doesn't even call the plays in Indiana. So if that's true, then maybe you bring in that guy as a offensive assistant to come in with Mendoza. If you run the lines together, then I mean I can
like
see
the thoughts. I like the thoughts and the idea of bringing in a guy like Davis Webb. I mean, here's an NFL quarterback. He's young. He's got some coaching experience. And again, Brady has a quarterback mind. Davis Webb is a former quarterback. And who better to develop a young quarterback than somebody who's actually been there in the trenches? So if you want to really take a chance on somebody who's young and who has the knowledge from the quarterback standpoint, that might be your guy. And again, Davis Webb might be a guy that you have to reach for a little bit early. He might be a little bit green. The fruit may be a little bit green on the tree. You might have to pick him prematurely. It might be one of those situations in the NFL draft where you draft a guy who may be a little bit underseasoned. And I will look at a guy like Jackson Dart, for instance. The Giants traded up and got him in the first round, and a lot of people said that's a big gamble. But from what I saw, it was worth the gamble. And
yeah.
again, maybe you do that. Maybe you do that with a guy like Davis Webb. Maybe you say, well, okay, maybe he's not been a head coach or even somebody really close to being a head coach, but he might be a head coach in waiting, and that might be, let him cut his teeth with a young quarterback, help him develop an offense. And I think everybody's looking at the Raiders because if you can get any coach to turn the Raiders around, well, that's going to be a story. Because I think for the last 25 years, if you look at coaches have come and gone, but nobody's quite been able to do it. Now, Gruden did get them on the cusp of the playoffs. He didn't take them there, but he actually got them right on the cusp. So he got to credit at least that much. But I think everybody across the old NFL spectrum is going to be looking to see who is going to be the guy who can bring the Raiders back.
Yeah, and a couple of things while we're here. The Raiders are not going after Tomlin. No. I mean, I would bet. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to bet Fester's paycheck on that.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to bet Fester's paycheck. I might even bet 1/4 of my new Social Security on that, which is not a bad.
Well, I'm not a big betting man as far as these bets go, but I'll lay down my $2. And I will make my bet right now that Mike Tomlin is not going to be a head coach next year. He's going to step away from it.
Yes.
He's going to step away from it, and he will be highly sought after. There's any number of networks could bring him on. And I will tell you this, some of those guys in the Fox broadcast booth are getting a little long in the tooth.
Right.
And they could either be really replaced right away or pretty soon. And of course, Matt Ryan has stepped away from his CBS spot because he's taking on a new role. So
what's he doing?
He's an executive with one of the teams. I can't remember.
What was it? The Falcons? Because he went back to Atlanta.
I can't remember. I have to look it up. But I know that he took a position somewhere. But and again, somebody has pointed this out, and I actually heard this on via Q Myers today. The Steelers still own the rights to Tomlin
for 2 years.
Yeah, if he decides to go back and coach, Steelers are going to get some draft capital in return. So
Right.
I think when he stepped away, I think it was with the clear understanding that he was not going to coach next year. So I think he's going to take a little time off. He's had 19 successful years, but I think he also kind of was staring down the barrel and seeing what might lie on the horizon for the Steelers, which I think they may be in trouble next year.
Yeah, actually, and I've said this name for the Raiders, and I still will say that he'd be a good person for the Raiders. But when Tomlin left, Brian Flores is going to Pittsburgh. I mean, I think so. It's all laid out for him to go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
and I think that's almost a done deal. Shula
I'd be highly surprised. I'd be highly surprised if that did not happen. That's what I've got penciled in now is Brian Flores going to Pittsburgh.
And Shula going to the Dolphins is almost to me, it's a done deal too. So there's two.
I thought last week, I was convinced that Harbaugh was going to take the position in Miami. I really was. I thought that was a good setup for him and that might be where he would go ahead and start to build that franchise back. But now that he's with the Giants, good move for them. I think that he's going to be in a good position, and I think they'll give him all the leverage and leeway that he needs to be able to bring that franchise back. So I think that's a good situation for him. But I totally agree with you, Jack. I think this really greases the skids for Miami to bring in Chris Shula.
Yeah. And I mean, I wanted to see if for anybody that wanted Harbaugh, no. And I told people, I said, Harbaugh is not coming to the Raiders. And I said, I can guarantee you Harbaugh is also not going to go to an AFC team. I said, I was incorrect. I said the Falcons would be his best bet, but he ends up going to the Giants, which is not bad. But I knew it wasn't going to be an AFC team. I saw that one coming.
All right. So here's my rundown so far with the spots we have. So we had 9 going in. Now we only have 8 since Harbaugh is definitely with the Giants. So you and I mentioned already that Brian Flores, we've both got him penciled in to go to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
The Cardinals job, and again, this is my dark horse here for the Cardinals. I see them going with a young guy who is just getting into coaching, but has some defensive experience and from the coordinator position. So I see Jeff Hafley from Green Bay, the defensive coordinator, taking the job there with the Cardinals. And again, that may be a good first gig for him. He may only last 3 or 4 years because the Cardinals are just awful. But again, you got to cut your eye teeth somewhere, and I think that they'll probably be willing to go with a young defensive mind to try to build that Cardinals defense up because they just have so many holes to fill. So I think that may be the direction they go. Now, you and I just mentioned Chris Shula in Miami. What I am still standing by, which I went last week, is that Kevin Stefanski will become the new coach in Baltimore. I still strongly believe that. And again, he might have a couple of axes to grind because, there's a lot of connections between Baltimore, the old Cleveland franchise, and then the new Baltimore franchise. So again, you may be getting your digs back at the old home place, Cleveland, by taking the job there. Plus, they're interdivision rivals anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot of incentive.
Yeah, so I think that's
Stefanski to Baltimore. I'll hold off on the Raiders till last. I think Mike McDaniel is going to be the guy to land in Atlanta. He got the shaft in Miami, but he's still got some play, and I think he's got enough experience to where Atlanta's probably going to dangle that carrot from him, and hopefully he can make that leap. So I have McDaniel penciled in Atlanta. Now, speaking of Cleveland, this is an interesting situation. Jim Schwartz is a defensive coordinator there, and he's still in the building. There's been rumored and been talk that they will go ahead and promote him to try to maintain a little bit of leverage with whatever they've got left on the defensive side of the ball, and try to make things work. I think a lot of people may be hesitant with the Cleveland job right now because, in my opinion, this is my opinion only. I think Haslam, the owner of Cleveland Browns, is probably the worst owner in all of professional sports. I think, bar none. I think he is the worst.
I would say that's that and the Bengals who are still in the state because the Bengals are a train wreck as well, and nobody seems to wants to go to. I'm surprised that Zach Taylor didn't get canned, but that's because I think that I don't know, he might have some nude pictures of somebody, to keep him in the building, but
I could see them. I could see them hiring Schwartz as the head coach, and
he has coaching experience too.
He does. He does. And then finally, and I'll come back to the Raiders last. Matt Nagy, I think, will accept the coaching position in Tennessee. Again, that may be a step for him. And just like with Jeff Hafley, you have to start somewhere.
Right.
So you're probably there 3 or 4 years. Tennessee, again, is kind of hit or miss. I'm not sure that they will really expect much one way or the other, but that's what I see. So
yeah, but that would be Nagy's second job though, because he flamed out in Chicago.
That's true. The Chicago setup was a failure from the get-go. It was not. He was not set up to be successful at all. I think maybe Tennessee, if they bring in the right pieces, they have a rookie quarterback. Well, they have a quarterback who's still on a rookie deal.
Yeah.
And he did play better toward the end. He really did. I thought maybe he was just going to be a complete flame out at the beginning of the season, but he has played better. So hopefully if they can surround him with some people that will protect him and bring a couple of offensive weapons in, they'll be good. So that leaves for the Raiders, leaves it wide open to bring in offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak as your head coach.
I don't know. I mean, I can see it, but your money's on Kubiak. I still think it's going to be Saleh. For some reason, and I can be wrong, but I think that they need to bolster. And I'm not saying that they're not going to bolster their OC, but I think that Saleh, who has experience as a head coach and could bring in a good staff, could bring in somebody from that through his connections with and maybe get Davis, like you're saying, maybe says, hey, I want you as OC or a young up and comer to come in to get Mendoza. And again, we're all under the auspices that Mendoza is going to be the number one pick, period. Saleh going to the Browns. Bishop, I would say I would bet you $5 that you're wrong on both points. I think that Saleh's not going to the Browns. And I think that you said book it. IU staff is coming to Vegas. I will bet you $10. That's 2 bets. 2 bets of $5. 2 bets of $5 that you're wrong on both.
So, Jack, I believe Saleh, I think, and again, I don't have him listed as filling any of these coaching voids, but I do have him as a backup in 3 different spots. And I have him as a backup candidate for the Raiders. I have him as a backup candidate in Atlanta, and I do have him as a backup candidate in Cleveland. But I think when it comes down to it, if Mike McDaniel does not get the job in Atlanta, Saleh will get it.
Mm-hmm. See, I like to see, and that's the thing I would say is that if you bring in Saleh as the guy here for the Raiders, you can get McDaniel because he's free. He doesn't have a job right now. Bring in McDaniel as the OC here for the Raiders. And this way you get a very strong defensive-minded head coach with an OC that's worth a salt. And I just think that Kubiak, and the reason why I said Kubiak might not make it here is because I think the Raiders are not going to keep waiting for these guys. Okay?
No, they're going to make a choice here. I think as soon as the playoffs are done.
Well, no, I don't think. I was going to say I don't think it's even going to go, because if you're waiting on Kubiak and you're waiting until the NFC Championship game for that, and I think they're going to make choices like next week.
Yeah.
I think next week.
You're right. You could be right. I mean, Kubiak and Shula, I think, are the only ones left that are still in it right now.
Well,
Of the
Salah's in
ones
it
that we've
because
been
he's
talking
on the
about.
Niners. Salah,
Okay.
Kubiak. Who else is there? That we were talking about? Because McDaniel's free.
And that's it. I think and Kubiak and Salah, and of course Salah and Kubiak go head to head, right? So one of the two of them is going to be out.
Right. And I think that
You could wait. You may well be right. Depending on who loses, they might actually win the Raiders sweepstakes.
Right.
It might come down to those two guys.
Yeah, the losing coach might be the winner of the Raiders sweepstakes.
Lose the game and win the Raiders head catching position. So yeah, it could be. It could come down to Salah and Kubiak. Whoever loses the game could get scooped right up.
Bishop, I get that what you want to make the guy comfortable, but he's going to be a professional quarterback. He has played for three, if I'm not mistaken, three different coaching systems. He played at a JUCO, then he played at Cal, and then he played at IU. Okay. If he's all that in a biscuit, and you'll learn that when you go through the combine and Indy and the pro days, when you get a chance to interview him, it's like, yeah, you want to make him comfortable, but you don't want to. I can't see the Raiders bending everything for him. They need to get some respectability amongst the NFL community. And I mean, if they bring in somebody that has IU credentials, but they're not going to have a whole fucking staff. I dropped my first F-bomb at the 24-minute mark, so I waited a while.
There you go. Hey,
They're
congratulations.
not gonna blast the whole fucking staff with we're going to take everybody from IU and bring them here. That just doesn't make sense. And I don't think it will happen, period.
Spytech and Brady are running the show, so they're not going to turn it all over to the IU campus.
Right.
Now, IU's making a splash right now, but they're not going to sell everything. They're not going to sell their souls just to satisfy all the IU alumni. So we'll see what happens. And another name that I haven't even mentioned, and this is one of the guys that I had high up on my list, Jesse Minter. We haven't even mentioned him.
Yeah,
and of course, there's that Michigan connection.
Right, but I think that Minter is the one that's going to and I think it's between Minter and Stefanski to go to the Ravens. One of those guys is going to the Ravens because Ravens has got everything that Minter would like, is that they are a defensive-minded team, and he has a lot of good building blocks to go with, and I think that they would give him a lot. Minter is going to be a head coach next year.
Okay, all right.
Minter's going to be a head coach.
I just hope for his sake that he doesn't end up in Cleveland because I like him. He's a good guy, and I don't want to see him in that situation.
Well, as long as he ain't going to Cleveland. Somebody is going to be the sacrificial guy, like you said. Did you say Nagy goes to Cleveland or Schwartz?
No, Schwartz. I think Schwartz stays in the building. They just move him up from DC to take over the head coach.
And that would be a smart move for them because he knows the organization, and you don't have nobody has to sweet talk him because he's already there.
And anybody who's in the building who's still going to hang in there would play for Schwartz. They would. They respect him. They like him. So you wouldn't have to really change the culture that much as far as the people that are still in the building, which I think is a big fear. A lot of times when you bring a coach in, one of the main fears is, well, how is the culture going to be drastically changed? And if that's the case, what's going to happen? Take a look at last year with the Raiders. The whole culture was changed. Pete Carroll came in and convinced everybody, hey, I'm a winner. I've always been a winner. So we're going to win this year.
Yeah.
And he sold that bill of goods to Mark Davis. He sold that bill of goods to the locker room, and he sold it to the entire Raider Nation. And
Well,
like
no,
we've said
he
before,
started.
you can't rebuild and say I'm going to have a winning team all at the same time.
Well, I'll agree with two of those three. He sold it to Mark Davis. He sold it to Raider Nation, the fans. He didn't do shit to sell it to the locker room because there were problems from jump, and it was Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly grinding. It was the Kelly faction and Pete's factions and everybody else is trying to dodge bullets. So it was a clusterfuck. There's another one.
Okay, Jack.
At that
Pete,
point,
Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly were grinding. I can't get that out of my head now. All right.
not on Grinder.
That's gonna be an image. That's gonna be an image that will keep me awake tonight.
Not on Grinder. Isn't that a site for alter? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah. It is. It is.
I'm not even hitting that one. It ain't happening. But I got in trouble. Got in trouble on the show that I said that they were going to ride. Oh, it was Dable. I said Dable's going to ride Jackson Dart. And I kept saying he's going to ride Jackson. And they did. And I actually, and I didn't even mean it comically, but all of the guys on the show know how I am, and they were giggling. And I'm like, what are you giggling about? I didn't even mean it like that. But they said, yeah. And it was, I just said he's gonna ride Jackson Dart just like a horse. But oh my God.
And there's nothing as unpleasurable as being ridden by a giant.
Great setup. Great. So you owe me on that one.
All right. So Jack, let me ask you this question. And this is one that has been come up a lot on the talking points, the national media, as well as within Raider Nation. So the two questions are, number one, do you trade back? And number two, do you bring in a bridge quarterback?
I can answer the second one right now. You already got your bridge quarterback, and people are going to scream at me. Mm-hmm. You got your bridge quarterback in the building, and that's AOC 12. Yeah, because AOC 12 is a guy who is your typical stand high in the pocket, not a lot of movement, and look for the targets and shoot. And you saw how well he played against a depleted Chiefs defense, because people were reminding me how depleted the Chiefs were. I said, stick it up your ass sideways, okay? The Raiders won that game. It was a depleted Raiders team against a depleted Chiefs team, but don't take that victory away from me. Okay.
He also led them to 9 touchdowns against the Chargers back in 2024.
9 touchdowns? Oh, yeah. The 60. Okay, yeah. So he can't do. I was going to say he led them to 0 touchdowns against the Chiefs the 2 times that he played them. 0. Right. But we won those 2 times.
Well, if you can get any kind of win at all with the offensive line that the Raiders had toward the end, more power to you.
Yeah.
That was probably the worst offensive line I think I've seen in decades. And I mean that, top to bottom, across the league. There are times where I would have gladly said, hey, Giants, I know you got Illuminor and Van Roten, who we had last year. Take any of our guys. Just give us those 2 guys back.
Well, actually, I was arguing with the and I'm going to call up my Gargler faithful with Coach and Robert Garcia, the San Angeles guys, and we were arguing about whose offensive line was worse and whose offensive line coach was worse. I said, dude, your offensive line coach has pedigree. He might have sucked, but he's standing a hell of a lot better as far as what he can teach than friggin' Brendan Carroll. And they're like, no, this guy, and we had all of the. I says, I don't care where if you had guard 4 and tackle 3, or it was tackle 4 and guard. I said, I don't care. our offensive line sucked more than, and it was funny because we're arguing about whose offensive line and offensive line coach sucked more. It would be like who's a bet? No, but it was who sucked more, and we were going back and forth, and it just got out of hand from there. But and we were then they were saying like, well, we wanted to have what's his nose that we got rid of. That was our center for years, and he went to San Diego. He went to the Chargers, and we said, dude, if you should have had him play at center. And they're like, we wanted him to play at center because Bozeman sucks so bad. I said, well, maybe he would have been an upgrade from Bozeman, but it's just hilarious about who's, and that's, by the way, speaking of their offensive line sucking, it's going to be between us and the Chargers to see who throws out more money to get Linderbaum. It's going to be between us two. I can see that.
The Raiders have an inside track on that, I think, simply because Brady and Spytek and rookie quarterback, they've got all that cap room. And I think if they look at building the offensive line and not going after just Linderbaum, but somebody else. Remember I told you the other name I was really looking at hard pressing, and that's Rasheed Walker, the tackle from Green Bay. I really believe that they're going to come away with not one, but two key offensive linemen for the rebuild. So you do that, plus you've got JPJ coming back, plus you've got DJ Glaze for whatever worth he has. And then if you draft two offensive linemen high, and Jack, you and I have talked about this, trade back into the first round and get a guy toward in the 20s who is still going to be a starter. So then you've got two free agents, you've got JPJ, you've got possibly a rookie coming in. Caleb Rogers has been developing a lot as a guard. So again, I think you're starting to get into a position where you're having some stability on the offensive line, and you don't have to turn to a guy like Stone Forsythe. Because as soon as they signed him, and I thought, man, that just signs a death warrant for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then when they put Alex Kappa in, they had nobody left, and they put him in at center. I'm not sure if you've seen tape on this or not, but Kappa wasn't missing a lot of blocks. He would snap the ball, people would just run around him. And then I can't tell you how many times I've seen snapshots of the quarterback going back to pass and Kappa just standing there. He's not engaged with anybody. He snaps the ball, people just run around him. So it's not that he missed any blocks. He didn't have anybody to block. People just ran around him.
Yeah. And they were talking about the same thing with Bozeman, is that Bozeman would be like even Herbert. And again, I'll give the Charger guys their knowledge about their team. Bozeman would call an offensive audible for the play, and Herbert was going, no. So he's out, and it's like, it was funny because, and the defensive players were the ones that were going right over the call that the alternate call. It's awesome. So,
well, what they did for Herbert was in back-to-back years, they drafted offensive linemen right up at the top. They got their quarterback on the rookie deal. Then they drafted, Slater.
So they and Slater.
They brought Slater in, and then they brought Alt in the next year. So they got two top flight offensive linemen in consecutive years to build that line. That's what you do. Now, if the Raiders can get two key free agents and then continue to do that, bring in one and then bring in another the next year. They've already got Caleb Rogers, who, if he develops from this past year's draft, and then JPJ from the draft previous to that, that's how you do it. You bring in your quarterback on the rookie deal. You bring in offensive linemen through free agency to protect them. And then you continue to draft to get that good depth. Because as you and I know, injuries happen along the offensive line. God knows. All you have to do is look at the Raiders from this past year. Injuries are going to happen. I know that Colton Miller is returning from injury, but I am not counting on Colton Miller to be a
Yeah.
starter for next year's Raiders team. He might make the roster, sure. That's great. But I'm not like Raider fans who are anxiously awaiting Colton Miller's return to the lineup for the Raiders. I think he's done. Now, if he isn't, that's great. That's gravy. But I'm not counting on that. I don't see him as being part of that starting lineup next year.
Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be he's going to go in the camp, and I think that Charles Grant's going to show his mettle. And then I don't even know. I don't even know if Glaze makes. I think Glaze might transition to try to be one of those guards. And I am of a mind that I like JPJ to stay at guard, and people are telling me I'm dumb, but I like JPJ to stay at guard. Bring in Linderbaum, and then you got Rodgers, and then you got Glaze, and then you got somebody else that you might. And fuck, man, imagine a offensive line coach actually having control of Lottttttts. See man, block man, boom, and he's big enough. He can probably play tackle. He might.
Jack, I'm in total agreement with you about JPJ. He is quick and he's a mauler, and that's what you need for the run game. You don't need to put him in at center. I know the center calls the plays, but just put him in there. Just put him in there where he can make the impact, where he can be the pulling guard for the running game, or he can just go straight in or double down along with the tackle and open up those lanes on the side. And I'm gonna call it the right side. I think he's best suited to play on the right hand side as the right guard. If you bring in a seasoned left tackle, a guy like Rasheed Walker from Green Bay, just put those two guys next to each other. JPJ and Rasheed Walker, man, that's a good line. That's a good side of the line. Then you would switch Caleb Rogers maybe over to the left guard position. That may be a little bit new, but I think that would be okay. Then for the tackle position, you might bring in a rookie, possibly, and substitute a rookie in, or that's Grant. Maybe you could put him over there. I don't know. Grant, I think might be better to start off at left tackle than at right tackle.
And that's the other thing is that, and people are saying that we have to anoint Miller. No. Miller's not even his 9th year, 10th year.
He's going into year 9.
Okay, and he's and I like Miller. But I'm not, I'm not in love with Miller playing anymore. I mean, he's my right now. He's my swing guy. He's the guy
earned his bag of money a couple of years ago, and there you go. He got it. He got his bag of money, but don't keep shelling out money for a guy who's been constantly injured and who's getting toward the end of his shelf life. Bring in new guys. Bring in big guys. Yeah, I still keep crossing my fingers, hoping that the Raiders can get anything out of Dalton Wagner. I mean, this guy's massive. If he could just put things together, huh?
Is he still on the roster? I thought they
re-signed him.
Okay, I mean,
re-signed him.
Dalton Wagner is the slow-footed Lottttttts. Big, strong, but not fleet of foot. Okay. And it would be a gargantuan. That would be a gargantuan line if they had Tassi and Dalton Wagner do anything. Oh, yeah. Tassi, I think, has because he's quick from Australian rules football or rugby or whatever the hell that fucking shit is over there. But he's quick and he can move. Dalton Wagner just unfortunately can't get out of his own way. And I didn't mean that as a pun, but it's true. He can't get out of his
way. And if you're able to draft up in the first round and get that monster Proctor out of Alabama toward the mid to late part of the first round, just imagine that. I mean, you got a monster offensive line there.
Yeah, as long as they can do it. Bishop, I think I'm not. I was on the Wagner train 2 years ago. Yeah. That train has left the station on him. He should have done it 2 years ago. 2 years ago was his the what is it the at the top the apex
pinnacle
the pinnacle. Yeah, not a nice story, but my hitching wagon is on like Lottttttts with a coach that knows how to fucking coach him.
Yeah. I had my fingers crossed for a couple of years, but now it's just I just shrug my shoulders and think what could have been. He might end up with another team. I think he probably is just going to bounce around to a couple practice squads, but that's the whole thing, Jack. Like you said, he's huge, but he's slow-footed.
Yeah,
And when
and
that
it's
happens,
unfortunate.
yeah.
Yeah, and I still want to see, and I don't know what the status is. I'd love to see us try to get Cam Miller back if, and this is the if the upper management, because remember, these are the people that drafted him. If upper management wants to make a play for him as a let's see what we got, and maybe trade a lower pick back to the Dolphins to get him, or see if the Dolphins even come through and keep him on the roster.
With Tua severing ties, they might start leaning on Cam Miller as being their starter going into next year.
They're okay, severing. So what happened? I missed on that.
Yeah. Oh, Tua's just blowing everything up. I think he's either walked away or done. He's not doing anything to lead the Miami fan base or coaches or city to believe that he's going to return. And again, maybe that's a smart thing because he's one concussion away from spending the rest of his life eating nothing but cream of wheat anyway.
Yeah. And why is he a franchise and how is he with? I mean, honestly, I agree with both parties. It's like if you're sold on Mendoza, and I'm not anti Mendoza, but I got to get my ponytail. There you go. Now it's settled. It was not settled in the back. I'm not anti Mendoza, but it's going to be up to Brady, who's supposedly the quarterback whisperer. If Brady is sold on Mendoza, then it's a done deal. If not, don't be surprised if I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy at ESPN, and hopefully I can make my way up to the. Oh, and you're going to be there too, by the way.
I'm going to be there as well. Yes.
I'll say for those who don't know, Fester's going to join me up in Pittsburgh for the draft. Hopefully we can get somewhere close to a TV camp. Okay. Yep. No, Gino's not going to be our quarterback, Bishop.
No.
Gino's not going to be our quarterback. But you got other quarterbacks, John Mateer and the kid from Miami, depending upon how he's going to work his way up the chart. I mean, second round, maybe Mateer could be a second rounder. I don't know if depending upon their pro day, because I was the guy. I'm sorry, wasn't it this guy that said if you're going to get a quarterback, trade back up into the first round and get Jackson Dart? I don't know. There's tape on it fucking somewhere on my show saying Jackson Dart. The end of round one.
I was doing the same thing, and I was doing the same thing toward the beginning before we knew that the Raiders were going to have the number one overall pick. Remember, I said get the very best offensive lineman you can with the 6th or 7th pick because that's where we were slated, I thought at the time, and then trade back up into the first round and grab Mateer. So that way you'd have the top offensive lineman on the board and bring in Mateer, who I think is going to be a good quarterback. He reminds me a little bit, if I'm looking at the ability to make the leap into the pros, reminds me a little bit of Spencer Rattler. Again, not a stellar quarterback, but a good arm and a good pair of legs who can keep you in the game, keep the play alive, and I think that's what he will be able to do. Plus, not a whole lot of injury history there, and of course, when you're looking at quarterbacks, you have to look at the injury history as well, because that can have a huge impact on where someone goes and what their longevity is going to be in the league.
I mean, I think it's going to be Mendoza, but I'm not going to have the Home Alone surprise face if the Raiders do make a trade.
The Raiders are constantly doing stuff that just shocked me and surprised me, particularly when it comes to draft day. So we'll be there. And of course, if something happens, I hope it's not going to be another Clee Furl moment. Oh, Lord have mercy. I hope it's not going to be another. Uh, God, I think back to the DHB or what I can't think of his name now. Yeah,
Darius
Darius Hayward Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the 2000 was that the 2009 draft? Yep, that was the 2009 draft.
Yeah, I mean everybody, and that was DHB, and also what was it the kid that the Bears got? Wasn't that the same? No, Mike White, or was that was it the White DHB and White, or my miss? Because it was two different.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but there's so many things.
But I saw Mendoza play against Oregon, and what I saw was pretty exciting because I saw a guy who was able to step back 2 or 3 steps and just fire a pretty back shoulder throw time after time. We haven't had a Raider quarterback that could do that. AOC 12 couldn't do that. He was having trouble with those back shoulder throws, and what was happening is he was getting some picks because he wasn't able to put it where he needed to put it. And I've also seen Mendoza put the ball down low where only his receiver could get it. That's reminiscent to me of what Stabler used to do with Bolitnikov. He used to throw the ball down low where Bolitnikov would make a sliding catch, but there'd be no way that ball could be intercepted. It was either going to be incomplete or Freddie would scoop it up off the ground. So again, if Mendoza's able to do that now, and of course you put some offensive lineman protection around him, we really could be in good shape because if you are able to do back shoulder throws like that with a guy like Brock Bauer, you're going to eat all day long because he is not going to drop those. If you just put it anywhere near him, he's going to make that catch.
Yeah, I mean, I like everything I've seen out of Mendoza. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not the one you got to convince. And by the way, Bishop, the Raiders have not called you and said, Miss Bishop Brayhew of the great church that you own in northern Las Vegas. I know I'm not trying to be sacrilegious here, okay, but bestow upon us the omnipotent, omniscient view that the Raiders need to take Fernando Mendoza. And I know you're not Catholic either. This is just purely for the audience here. Bless upon, it's not happening because you're not that guy yet. I like Mendoza, but as I've been pounding the fist, you need to put some boys in front of him so that make sure that he stays upright, and it has a blocks for some guy by the name of Genty. And the blocking, so the guys by you said Bowers and Mayer will be there. And you did make a good question, like who's going to be our number one wide receiver? That's a very good question, and I think that's going to be addressed early because we got Jack Besh in the second round last year.
Right, he was a second rounder. You've still got Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton in the building. Again. Are either one of those number one receivers? I don't think so. Could either one develop into a number one? Perhaps, but they're not there right now. You'd have to certainly go out and either get somebody in the second round, a really good receiver to jump up to that number one spot, or you'd have to go through free agency, which is probably more likely. Go through free agency and get somebody who's a little seasoned. I've heard the name A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's not coming to the Raiders. So you can lay that one to rest. There might be some others out there on the free agency wire. But again, we've got enough to really address, I think, the offensive line and get one good position player, either a defensive end or linebacker. I think those need to be the key things. But here's the thing: before the draft even starts, before we even get out of the playoffs and into the actual free agency signing period, the Raiders need to do one thing. They need to do it now. They need to do it quick, and they need to do it definitively. And that's go ahead and lock down Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes proved himself over the past year. He became the cornerstone of that defensive backfield. He was everything that we hoped he would be, and we can't let that guy go. We got to go ahead and sign him, lock him down, because he's gonna end up walking away with a big bag of money somewhere.
Yeah.
He's a good player, so they need to go ahead and just work that deal. Whoever the coach is, let's go ahead, get the coach nailed down first, and have the coach, whoever that happens to be, meet up with Eric Stokes and say, look, we want you on this team. Let's get the deal done.
I agree with that. I mean, of all the pending free agents that I can think of right now, he's the guy that I want back into building number one. That I can I might be forgetting somebody, but of all the pending free agents, he's the guy I want back in the building right now. And I'll even give you one better. Of all of the coaches that were on this staff that were let go, the one that I want back right away is Rob Leonard.
Yeah.
That's one guy I want.
And I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to get snapped up by somebody. I really do.
That's a shame, because he deserves a pay raise, an increase. I would say, what is it? When can we make these things? What's like January 29th or something?
I think March 1 is when the league year starts. I think that's the unofficial. That's when the tampering period, I think, starts, or whatever they call it. So it's yeah.
And that's what I was thinking, Matt. He deserves a shot at DC. And if you get a defensive, like I said, if you get Rob Saleh, who runs things well, and have somebody like Rob Leonard be the DC, and then you're going to need an OC. And that's why I said, if you bring in Saleh, and Saleh will have somebody that's of his mind, and then you can have, I'm thinking McDaniel, or you think Daboll. You bring in Daboll or McDaniel as your OC. That's why I think that it's going to be Saleh, because I don't know whether they're going to wait on. But we'll know. I said, who wins the Seattle Niners game? I think it's going to be one of those guys. I think you're correct there. I don't think we're waiting past that round.
I could see Rob Leonard as defensive coordinator, but I think they're going to have to act quickly if they do that. If they're going to keep him in the building, because if they don't, somebody's going to grab him.
Well, I'm hoping that they're at least talking to him while he's still here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they're still talking to him.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking.
And again, who would be doing the talking to him? Would it be Spytek or would it be Brady? I mean, I have to know that both guys aren't going to sit down together and be talking to him. I would think that Spytek's the one who's making the decisions, and just
I would hope it's Spytek
through Brady on those.
Yeah, I would hope it's Spytek. Honestly, I don't want Brady doing a lot. I really don't. I think that honestly he gums up the works. I think he gums up the works.
He does.
Yeah.
Put one guy in charge. Let one guy do it. If Spytek's the guy, Mark just needs to give him the reins and say, okay, you're the president of football operations / general manager. And we've seen that throughout the league on numerous occasions and with numerous teams. If he's the guy, then give him all the power.
Yeah. Matt, we were talking, I don't know if you came in on that. We have I have Stefanski going to Baltimore.
Yep, me too.
I have Stefanski going to Baltimore. I think that is the best way for him to have a coaching position that is worthy of what he wants. Plus, it's a way to say, fuck you, Cleveland, twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
In division.
And I have Saleh as the backup to either be the Raiders head coach, the Falcons head coach, or the Browns head coach.
Okay. So you don't think Saleh's going to get a head coaching job?
I don't. And it's no knock on him necessarily. I just think that, again, you have to look at what the leadership wants. And again, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know exactly what each owner or person who's pulling the strings in that organization wants, except maybe for Miami. I think they would love to bring Chris Shula in now, and keep that Shula name going. I think Stefanski makes sense in Baltimore. I think Brian Flores makes total sense in Pittsburgh. The others, again, are just guesses, but I think Mike McDaniel, again, has enough coaching pedigree to where he can go into a situation like Atlanta and make it work. Jeff Hafley with the Cardinals, again, anybody that takes a Cardinals coaching position is only looking about 2 or 3 years anyway, if that, because that's just a horrible situation, and nobody's going to step in and make that any better. Which was why I thought before that Vance Joseph might well end up there to get back into coaching. He wasn't real successful before, but again, nobody who takes this coaching position, I think, is going to be doing very much, particularly when you look at the teams already in that division. I mean, Seattle, the Rams, and the 49ers, those are all good teams, and you're not doing anything, at least for a couple of years in that division.
Well, I was going to say, did you have Minner going anywhere then? Because I think he's going to be.
I didn't. I do have him as a backup as going to Tennessee. I did. If Matt Nagy doesn't get it, that it would be Mentor. But I have him as a backup. But on the ones I have penciled in, I don't have him going anywhere.
Frank, no, he's going. Shula's going to Miami. He's not going to Schittsburg. Brian Flores is going to Schittsburg. Okay, that's our money on that. Yeah.
I think we're both in agreement on that.
Yeah, Brian. I mean, there's too many connections with Mike Tomlin and that team, and I'm really pretty sure. I mean, even though the bishop says he doesn't bet, I'm thinking it's definitely a bet.
If he's stepping away, not being fired, if he's stepping away, which he has done, I think that he is going to be worthy enough to where they will listen to what he has to say. And as he goes out the door, I think he's going to say, "Hey, Brian Flores should be your next guy." So I think the way is going to be paid for him to come in and take over as the new head coach.
Jared, you're going to have to hit a link because I don't do call-ins anymore. I don't know. And there's no call-in number. You got to hit the link, okay? And I hate saying it like that, but I don't do call-ins anymore because it was that technology with the Google Voice is gone. So you're going to have to hit the link, and you don't have to be on camera. But you got to have and I'm going to say your Apple phone needs to hit all of the parameters, and it can be done, but you got to hit the link. And I'll put the link up after I'll hit the link up. I'll put the link up when my co-host says, yeah, we can have some people pop in. Okay, so I'll let that.
Absolutely. Because I've only got about 10 or 15 more minutes, but you can bring anybody in you want. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The more the merrier. Or you could go back to the old Larry King days. We have Seattle, Washington calling in. Hello.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the way my show was before with Google Voice, and people would call, but I can't do that now. So it's just a matter of hit the link. You don't and don't worry about the video. Video is nice. I mean, look at
you don't even have to have a light bulb.
Right. You just bring it in. Jared, we were talking about that. Yeah. Signetti, I think no. I think that maybe somebody from his staff might want to come and make the point up. But and Bishop was saying he thinks that Signetti and staff, they're all going to walk out of IU and come over to Vegas. I don't think so. And I bet $10 on it. But he says he doesn't bet. It's not. Oh, yeah, there you go. And here's another thing. Matt says he's contracted to Indiana for the next 10 years.
Yep.
So that's another thing. Yeah, Shula to Miami.
Be coming to him.
Yeah. So they're not gonna. He's not gonna walk on that.
No. But the Raiders need a franchise quarterback, and they've got one waiting for them. Guys like this don't come along very often. You don't get a chance to get the number 1 overall pick. And regardless of what you do or don't think about Mendoza, he's the best quarterback out there for probably the next 2 or 3 years. And I'm including Arch Manning. I think Arch Manning is extremely overrated.
Okay. We had somebody in the back room, and I'm not going to say who it was, but it was one of the people that was on the list. The person that was on the list, and hopefully he'll come back. And gosh darn it, it's like I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, I hope you come back. There you go. I'm adding him right now. I'm not going to lose him.
There he is.
And you're so. Wait a second. You're so good looking. I'm going to make sure that you're not even overwritten with the words. To all here, I give you the one and only Murph from Raider Fan Radio. Thank you, sir, for coming in. And I don't have the applause and the shit like you do on your show. I got to learn how to do that. But I'm giving you real applause right now. There you go. Thank you. Sound effects.
Jack,
I love this.
Jack, I'll give you one.
Sir, you are welcome at any time if you are so bored that you can come in and definitely lighten and you could actually push this to your show too if you want to do that shit too. That's always available.
What do I got to do? Do I hit the button over here to stream this to your audience? Is that what I do?
Yeah, stream it to your audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Raiders fan.
No, great.
Oh, I got to title it and everything.
Oh yeah, you title it. I'm waiting.
Okay.
That's it. But yeah, stream it to your audience because and by the way, I'm gonna while you're trying to do that shit,
Okay.
I want to say I didn't get a chance to because I know that you said something on your show. I wanted to say no. This is good. I had the wonderful warmth. See,
Okay.
notice I'm doing a warmth to see Murph and Jeff. The very last game in the parking lot.
Yeah, man.
And that was wonderful. It was awesome to see you. I'm hoping to do that more often. And if I make it up to Tennessee, I'd love to come in studio with you, sir. And if you make it down to Florida, come down here.
I thought you were not allowed to get within 300 yards of Nashville. I thought that was the deal.
That the last time that happened was for the draft, and that those things are that what is it the terms of that whatever
limitations is that what we ran out?
Statute of limitations is up. Yes.
Okay. All right. Because T-Hom knows that. So shout out T-Hom. What's up, brother? T-Hom.
Hey, how you doing?
His just ran out, so he's allowed back in the state.
Yeah. So
Murph, I might be trying to make a trip to Nashville during the off season as well.
Heck yeah, brother. Yeah, let's meet up, man. Jeff and I were downtown Nashville today. We had an absolute blast and because we kind of freaking bum around Middle Tennessee, man. That's what we do for work. And we don't bum around. We actually do work. But yeah, for Swag Jeff, for those of you that don't know, Swag Jeff, one of my co-hosts on Raiders Fan Radio, we actually work together loosely in real life. And so every once in a while we get to like hang around downtown and yeah, we had a lot of fun today hanging out and talking about the Raiders, man. It's a cool thing about when you drive around with your co-host that you actually work with in between, like calls and meetings with people, you get to freaking talk about the Raiders. It's beautiful.
It is.
Murph,
great.
I'm not sure what you've heard coming in, but Jack and I have talked about several things. And two of the things that we talked about is number one, and I know these are things that you and Jeff and Michelle talked about on the show, is number one, do the Raiders trade back out of the number one spot? And number two, is there a bridge quarterback that they bring in in the meantime. So what Jack and I have said definitively, at least I've said, there's no way that you back out of that number one pick. And there's no bridge quarterback you bring in. You put your rookie in and you let him cook.
Well, I made the addendum. I said the bridge quarterback is already on the roster with AOC 12.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have a bridge quarterback, that's the guy. Like you said, you already got him in house. Kenny Pickett's going to be a free agent, so there's another wasted draft pick by your Las Vegas Raiders. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do at the first round pick. Listen, I'll answer your question. Is this T-Hom? I'm so confident that I should have brought my jersey down. I bought a freaking Mendoza jersey. I'm so confident that the Raiders draft Fernando Mendoza with the number one overall pick. Not only did I buy the kid's jersey, which I don't buy younger players' jerseys, but I've already booked my room in Vegas. I'm going to be in Vegas for the draft for the first round, and can't wait to celebrate the idea that we're going to draft a player that's going to change the trajectory of our franchise for the next 12 to 15 plus years. And if they do anything other than that, it will be an absolute letdown. I mean, the last time we drafted a quarterback number one overall, as you all and everybody listening to this knows, it was Jamarcus Russell. And prior to that, it was Marinovich. And I think we did it 2 other times for players back in the 60s that never even played for our goddamn team. So it's far past time for the Raiders to draft this franchise changing quarterback first overall. Pair him up with a freaking offensive-minded head coach, and then let it cook, man. Let it freaking simmer. I understand we have a lot of deficiencies. We have a lot of holes on the roster. We'll fill that shit in. Just because you draft a quarterback doesn't mean that you stop drafting. All you got to do is look back to the 2014 model. Reggie McKenzie drafts Derek Carr high in the second round, drafts Khalil Mack in the first round, builds a wall in front of him in free agency. 2 years later, we're in the playoffs, and if it wasn't for the unfortunate incident with Trent Cole breaking Derek's leg, we're probably beating the Houston Texans for the first playoff win since 2003. So it's like, come on, y'all. Like, this is not that complicated. And the last thing I'll say is this. If it's that valuable for another team to trade an obnoxious amount of draft capital, 2, 3 first-round picks and a player, whatever all the different things have been thrown out there by the Jets and everybody else, if it's that valuable to them, it should be that valuable to us, because that is franchise altering. Like, it's time, Raiders. Let's do it.
There's not a quarterback in the next 3 draft classes, and I'm including Arch Manning. And again, Jack and I just talked about this. There is not a quarterback I see on the horizon in the next 3 years that is equal to Fernando Mendoza. I was getting ready to say Valenzuela. I got Fernando Mania on my mind here.
Yeah.
But no, there's not a quarterback I see in the next 3 draft classes. And if that's the case, you go ahead and you go for the guy and you swing with it. Maybe he works out, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he turns out to be another Lawrence, or maybe he turns out to be another Anthony Richardson. You don't know. I don't think he is going to be a Richardson.
Well, maybe he turns out to be Josh Allen. And when you listen to Brandon Beane, and Brandon Beane, the way that he talks about when they drafted Josh Allen, when the Bills traded the farm to get Josh Allen, and people were critical of him. And they said, well, how could you give up so much draft capital to go and get Josh Allen? And he said, well, because if he's that great, no one's going to give a shit. And if he's not, then I'm not going to be here anyways. Like, you have to sell the farm. There's a reason Tom Telesco isn't the general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders anymore. And that's because he didn't get us a franchise quarterback. And then, he failed to re-sign Josh Jacobs as well. Like, you've got to get the quarterback. It's the most important thing for a general manager, for an organization, for a franchise. You can do the rest after the fact. But if you've got an opportunity to draft a kid like Fernando Mendoza, then anybody that's putting any kind of shade on this young man's career, questioning his talent, whatever, I'm sorry, eat a bag of what, because...
No, you can say it. You can say it on my show. You can say it, Murph. Come on.
Eat a 20-pound bag of dicks because you're full of shit. Like, all you got to do is watch this kid throw a 20-yard out route, which is one of the more underrated throws in the NFL, on a fucking dime, Cap. T-Hom, you know this, man. It's like, the deep ball is pretty, and it's great. Oh, this guy can throw 70 yards from his knees. No, can you plant your foot and drive that fucking ball 45 yards across the field from the back hash and hit your receiver in route before he gets out of bounds? Yes, that's the answer to the question. What else do you want to know? He's cerebral. He's brilliant. He can dissect the defense, which will carry him late into his career. Why do you think that Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, even Aaron Rodgers, I know he had a rough night the other night, but what propels these guys into late freaking success as a quarterback. It's their ability to identify defenses, set up protections. Those are the things that you can't you can't undersell the importance of those things. And so it's like, here's this kid that's got all the intangibles. He's got all the tangibles. What else do you want? Like, what else could you possibly want? And we are in a prime position to do it without surrendering any draft capital or players or otherwise to do so. Not to mention the last thing I'll say on this, guys, is that when you bring in that guy, you've got the advantage of the rookie wage scale. You've got him on a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option. So for 5 years, you can overspend or spend at different positions. It gives you a competitive advantage against the rest of the teams, not only in your division, but the rest of the NFL. You get the premier quarterback at the freaking first round. The end. Don't talk to me about the next year. The next year's always better. Like, all those people, save it, man. I'm sorry. It gets lost. It's an empty argument. You do it. It's in front of you. And then you move on and you grow from there. And you can't, sure, no draft is perfect. And sure, no player is perfect. There's always going to be questions, but there are the least amount of questions around this guy than anybody in a long time. So draft his ass, shut up, buy your 15 Mendoza jersey, and let's go freaking win a freaking division.
How many millions of dollars? How many millions of dollars have
I didn't realize I had it.
How many millions of dollars have the Raiders wasted over the last few years on retread quarterbacks or guys who were going to kind of fit the bill here, or maybe they'll reclaim some of that past glory or past fire that they had? How many years, year after year, where he brings somebody in and say, okay, this is going to be the guy this year. This is going to be the guy this year. And just millions of dollars wasted. And in the meantime, you don't have any free agent money to spend on offensive linemen or defensive linemen or an edge rusher or linebacker or any other needs. Now, Murph, the one thing I was telling Jack, and then Jack, I'll turn it back to you, that I told everybody that needs to happen. It needs to happen soon, even before or as soon as we sign a head coach. We need to go ahead and lock down Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes has proven himself over the past year. He has been the cornerstone now of that defensive backfield. He's going to get some money. He's going to get paid. And if the Raiders don't get off the pot, they're going to lose him to somebody else. And I think they need to go ahead and do this in-house, make this happen. Of all the free agents that are on the market, Daniel Carlson included, I think this is the guy that you need to sign.
Take it, Captain.
4.
You got it. Cap, take it away.
I'm
Okay.
not even sending that to you. I mean, if you're sending that to me, then yeah, I love Eric Stokes. I think that he's a perfect guy to freaking, you know what I mean? Like, listen, Cappy, you know I'm not short on words, man. There's a reason I do a 2.5-hour podcast every week. But yeah, like, I love it. I think Eric Stokes is a great compliment. I think we need to continue to invest in the defensive side of the ball. I think that priority-wise, it needs to be offensive line, clearly, but you can build.
Oh my God, Tom and I have only been saying that all fucking year. So we're saying, yeah.
Absolutely. But just like I referenced the 2014 team back then, is that when you look at the offensive line that Reggie McKenzie built, yes, he drafted Gabe Jackson, but who were the prominent players? It was Donald Penn, free agent, Kelechi Osemele, free agent, right? It was like, when you look at those guys, that what he built with, even Austin Howard, which easy with that, but still.
And Rodney Hudson, who they got from the Chiefs.
And that was the last one I was going to get to, because Rodney Hudson should be a Hall of Famer, right? Like, yeah. And so when you look at the offensive line that they built in front of Derek, the car insurance, right? It was all through free agency for the most part. So I think that needs to be a focus for the team. But then right after that, T-Hom, I'm with you. Like, sure, you want to keep guys like Stokes in the building. You don't want to let, because when you look at like what Amik's doing in Detroit, you don't want to let what freaking John Spicek said the other day. You don't want to let good players get away. Amik's one of those guys. You don't want to let an Amik Robertson get away. You don't want to let guys like that get out of the building. So, yeah, you resign Eric Stokes, but then also you want to bring in the young guys too, because you want to freaking fill out that roster. That adds depth, and guess what? Depth is one of the most important things, because why? People get hurt. You know, like every year, how about this, guys? You guys have been around long enough. You got enough gray in your beard like I do. You know this is the case. Every year. No, I didn't call you old. No, I didn't call you old. I'll call myself old, and I'll call my co-host Jeff fat, but I won't call you old.
Well, I go by both of those anyway, old and fat. So, yeah.
But there's someone that always emerges every postseason, and you're like, who's that guy? You know what I mean? Like, because I know we're Raider fans, and we're intimately familiar with easy with that term, but like intimately familiar.
Watch your on here, intimate,
I know.
I got a bad rap. Okay, so wait on that. Intimately familiar with our roster, but we're not intimately familiar with everybody else's roster. So all of a sudden you're going to be watching a playoff game and someone on the Patriots is going to ball out in a game and you're going to go, who's that guy? And it will be somebody that fans like us have been sitting around going, yeah, that's the guy we need to resign, because that gives you depth, right? And so to go back to your point, circle all the way back around T-Hom, I think that, a guy like Eric Stokes is going to be very important to this football team. And anybody that's shown any kind of promise, I think they need to retain with responsible contracts. And then you're going to listen, we're going to overspend a little bit. We've got way too much money. If we're going to draft a rookie quarterback, it's okay. We've got room to overspend. This isn't a Corey Littleton situation that we're dealing with over here. Like, it's okay to overspend a little bit at some other positions on the defensive side of the ball and build the depth of this damn football team. Okay, now I'm going to stop. No, wait. No, don't go anywhere yet, because I'm getting started too. Now that I got somebody to bounce shit off of besides T-Hom. I love that.
Let's go, T-Hom.
I like. By the way,
you know what my name is here, right, Murph?
That is Raider
Fester.
Fester. Go ahead. Go ahead.
He calls me Raider Fester. Here's why.
All you're missing is the dark circles under around your eyes there, bro.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We've talked about that.
You got to do that. Love it.
Raider Fester, man, and he's gonna get the bulb that stays on all the time too.
Yeah.
One of these days when I can, I'm gonna gift him. I'm telling you this, T-Hom, I'm gonna gift you with the jersey. I need to know sizes and when I can send it to you, because
you look like a double medium.
Right now I'm a double X, but hopefully by the time we get to training camp, I'll be in large. That's what I'm working on.
Woo! Okay, I'm a 3.
I'll at least be an XL. I'll at least be an XL by then.
There you go.
Okay. Well,
nice goals.
You were talking, because I want to get on this, and I'm saying, and you already told me that I'm fucked up. You didn't tell me this, but you told me without saying anything that I'm fucked up, because you said
that's accurate. That's accurate.
Okay, you said with a offensive minded head coach.
Yes, sir.
And I said, okay, I'm all for a offensive minded person coming into the building, but I still got my I don't say my money, because I'm trying to cut down on my betting. I'm losing too much, but I got my druthers that it would be Robert Saleh with a very good OC like Brian Daboll or McDaniel coming in here to save the day. Now Bishop seems to think that we're going to get Cignetti and his entire staff, and we're like, no, that's not happening. But I want Robert Saleh with a great Brian Daboll or McDaniel to come in here, because I figure Saleh, who has coaching experience, and I think he got fucked in New York, and I think this would be a great second chance for him. And the fact
everybody gets screwed in New York, Jack. Everybody gets screwed in New York,
except me. Trust me, I've never been screwed in New York, and
you're in the Navy. You're not fooling anybody.
But I never went to New York on a screw. I never hit a port of call in New York. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying. But I
never said anything.
Hey, but
he never said anything about Bayonne. He never said anything about Bayonne, New Jersey.
Port of call, Bayonne, New Jersey. I remember that. That was an SNL original, and I loved it. Go back and look at that for all you younger folks on YouTube. Port of call, Bayonne, New Jersey, the Navy Adventure. It's great. Go. But Murph, So I'm wrong. You told me I'm fucked up. What you said it is correct, by the way. I like that. So yeah, that's right. But so since we already have it out there, offensive-minded coach, because I know what Fester says, who are you putting in the front office, and who are you putting in on the sideline that looks good in sweats and like can outdo Pete Carroll running in sweats for the Raiders head coaching job?
I'm looking for a guy I want a young offensive-minded head coach. I think that it is everything about this organization right now says reset. I mean, we are only 6 years into the current city we're playing in. We're 11 years into the current ownership, right? Which is Mark, but there has been a little bit of a reset in ownership as well because of the arrival of Tom Brady and Tom Wagner and the other folks that are, even lesser minority partners in the ownership of this team. So there's definitely going through a reset there. We know that we're going to have a new head coach. We're likely going to have a completely new coaching staff. So we're going to have a brand new quarterback, right? So I think that with this new start, with this fresh start, I don't want to bring in any old ideas. And I think that even as much as I can have respect for a guy like Mike McCarthy or Kevin Stefanski or whatever these guys that are offensive minded that are still out there and looking at their second stop on the list or even third when it comes to McCarthy, like I want a fresh idea. I want a fresh approach. I think that that's the best thing for the organization. I think that that's the best thing for the quarterback that's coming in. And again, like I don't want to dismiss what those guys have accomplished, or like when I look at Stefanski as a particular, like the Cleveland Browns are an absolute dog shit ran organization. When you look at the way that Jimmy Haslam runs that freaking that football team, he runs the hell out of some truck stops, but he can't run freaking a football team worth of shit. And so when you hamstring your head coach and his roster because you've absolutely blown the farm, and when I said blown the farm earlier for somebody to draft, that doesn't equate to when you blow the farm for somebody that you got to and then overpay like they did for Deshaun Watson. And then you have all the fallout that subsequently, like that was one of the most miscalculated moves in the history of our sport that we love so very much. And so Kevin Stefanski was put in an incredibly difficult situation. I understand it's the Browns and people go like, oh, the Browns are going to Brown. Yeah. But when you look at the actual minutia of it and you look at what actually happened, like that was rough, man. And it all comes from mismanagement from the top. So anyways, all that said, I think that it's time there are a handful of names. I love Clint Kubiak. I love Joe Brady. I love even the idea that if we do have to go with a retread, something like, I feel like Cliff Kingsbury's a little bit still of a fresher name. I know, but I'm with you. I see you shaking your head too, T-Hom, and I'm still a no on that. Yeah. So I think it's a fresh first time head coach. I think that's the move. Give me the 38-year-old guy, the 40-year-old guy, the guy that's, under 40 and that can do this thing for the next 20 years. Like, who's the next Sean McVay? Who's the next even John Gruden? You know what I mean? Like, and I know that's a freaking weird name to throw out to people, but like, who's the next even Andy Reid? Like, who's the next play? Who's the next Bill Walsh, right? Who's the next offensive mind that we can bring to the table as a head coach? And the reason I say that, Captain, is that not only to bring that fresh approach, but then you don't have to deal with the freaking turnover of offensive coordinators. Because here's the case, man, that when you have a good offensive coordinator, there's a reason Ben Johnson has a job. Right? Like, because he was so successful in Detroit. So then he goes to the freaking Bears and he'll be with the Bears riding with Caleb Williams for however long. Like, you look at those guys, like, don't give me Sean Payton. Give me the next Sean Payton. And Sean Payton's an asshole, by the way. But give me that next guy. That next guy that you look at the way that Sean Payton grew his career with Breeze. You look at the way that like these offensive guys, they freaking mesh with their quarterback and they grow. And I know there are what's the word I'm looking for? I know there are anomalies. Thank you. And I know there are exceptions.
I'm not as much of a fuck twat as you think I am, Murph. I can actually say anomaly. Okay.
Thank you. But so I know there are examples. You look at Belichick. Belichick's a defensive guy and he had Tom Brady and whatever, they won the world. So I understand that there are different examples, but right now, the way the league is trending, and this is a copycat league, so I would love to see the Raiders identify and proceed with the way the league is going. Give me the young offensive guy. You don't have to risk the turnover at head coach. Pair him up with the young quarterback, and then let this thing go. And I think that will give in the last part.
Who you picking?
Yeah, last point I'll make.
I'm waiting on it.
Two guys is that I think that as a fan, I desire that, and I would want that because I think that gives us patience. That when you give us a guy at the head coaching position that knows what he's doing to run the offense, and then you give us that young QB, I'll be patient with it. I won't have the expectation we're going to win more than 5 games next year, but that's okay. Derek Carr won 4.
Who do you think they're going to pick?
I want Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak, I think, is if you're asking me to pick a guy, I'm going to say Clint Kubiak. I think that when you look at the reason that we haven't landed on one yet is because that guy's still in the playoffs. So I think that it's probably Clint Kubiak, and I think that a lot of the interviews we've been doing are guys that he's been like, here's my short list of coordinators. Why don't we because there's some of these interviews we've been like, why are they Raiders interviewing that guy? Well, maybe somebody planted a bug in their ear, and they're like, go ahead and bring him in. Go ahead and bring him in, John. Go ahead and have a conversation with this guy because I would love for him to be my DC, that kind of a thing. So, I mean, that's just my fan opinion, but yeah.
Here's something interesting that we just mentioned before you came on. We said, wouldn't it be interesting to note that the game coming up this weekend between San Francisco and Seattle, whoever loses that game between San Francisco and Seattle, whoever loses that game could end up winning the Raiders head coaching sweepstakes.
It's an interesting conversation, man. I mean, go freaking Niners then. I can't even spit that out. I'm a Northern California guy. I'm a Bay Area kid, man. Like I hate the goddamn Niners, man. Like with a passion. Yeah. After our division, they're my most hated football team. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah, man. The quicker and you know, T-Hom, you know that's going to be the domino effect too, right? Like that. Yeah. I feel like we're going to be the catalyst for all this shit because everybody else is waiting on the playoffs too. Like we're not the only ones. You know what I mean? There are plenty others out there that are waiting on it too. And so it's going to be interesting the way this thing unfolds. Yeah. Hey, let me ask you guys a question.
How dare you ask me a question when you are my star guest? Fuck you, Murph. I got you on for a reason. Okay?
But I want
to. You fuckers. There you go. There's your drop. There's your drop.
Oh, don't make me play it. I'll see if I can find it.
See if you can find it.
Yeah, I got it around here. So actually, I got a whole freaking ID for you, Captain Jack. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Let's see if can you hear that?
Anybody called you Swag Jack?
Can you hear that?
This is Captain Jack. You're listening to the soothing sounds of Raiders Fan Radio with Murph, Uncle Mosh, and that wonderful gentleman, Swag Jeff. What the fuck are you doing?
I love that. I love that.
That's awesome. Oh man. Wait. Bring it tears to my eyes, sir, that you think that much of me, that you'll have a montage. That's awesome.
And Murph, I have a new song about Mendoza coming your way.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, brother, that's awesome, man. Can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to hear it.
Send it your way.
I bet I know what the track is. It's got to be ABBA.
Nope. No, it is not. It is not the classic. No, I went totally on my own. Yes.
Good for you, T-Hom. Hey, it's and you know what Swag Jeff brought up the other day? He was like, it's been a minute since we heard from the Raider Karaoke Kid.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice to hear from you.
We're getting some new material out.
I love it. Well, you got material out. The fannies aren't until July, so anything that you get out for our annual award show, man, it qualifies.
Okay. All right.
And I did call in again to make sure that you had something, that was fresh, because I called in just to say, and then I actually did call in again because I felt I needed to.
Well, and we love to hearing your voice. And I didn't because a lot of times now I don't have time to screen the calls. I just play them as they come in. And I realized that the first time you called us, was just you being you, right? And so then like you started to give your phone number, and I'm like, oh shit! And so I turned it off. And Michelle goes, "Did we almost dox Captain Jack?" And I'm like, "Pretty freaking close, man." So, but then you called in on your next one, and we played that and that was great to hear from you. But it was like, oh shit, man! I'm like, I don't know.
No wonder I got all of these fucking crank calls on my phone now.
Yeah. But I don't know if you realize that you're freaking you're entitled to a Nigerian prince's inheritance, Captain Jack. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
That but okay, all is said. Okay, so you're thinking Kubiak.
I'm thinking Kubiak.
That's my guy too.
No on Kingsbury. No.
If we had to pick a retread, I would pick Stefanski, but I'm a hard no on any version of the retread, though.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to go a guy who's OC or offensive minded, that's a former, I'll take Stefanski. I think Stefanski would be a good fit if we're going that route. Okay. But also
the reason I bring up Cliff is because he's boys with Tom. And it's like, I never want to underrate personal relationships. Listen,
here's the thing about Cliff.
New gig and I have to hire somebody to be my lieutenant, my freaking backup, I'm hiring Swag Jeff. The end. Like, I'm not even considering anybody else. I'm like, that's the guy. That's my best friend. That's the guy I'm going to. And so I don't want to ever underestimate the relationships to be had. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the reason that I bring it up is because they're freaking tight outside the building. And so that's like, okay, like we may not like it, but it's something to at least consider. It's just like when I brought up the John Gruden thing, people gave me so much shit. There's a lot of people out there gave me a lot of shit. I'm not advocating for John Gruden at all. What I am considering is Mark Davis's affinity with John Gruden. And so I don't immediately dismiss it because it's important to him. It may not be important to me, but it's important to him. And so now that he's removed himself from the equation, from all reports, and it's Tom and it's freaking John that are handling this hiring, season, I'm not worried about John Gruden because it's not Mark. I mean, sure, Mark's going to have to sign off on it, and ultimately they're going to consult him on it. But if Tom and John go to Mark and go, here's the guy, what's he going to do? Say no? Both you guys and your 7 Super Bowl rings are wrong? Like, come on. That ain't gonna happen. Actually, 8, because I guess Spytek's got one too. So I mean, he's just telling them they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna go along with it. Where if it were up to Mark, I promise you, if this were solely up to Mark Davis, John Gruden 3.0 would be on his way. I mean, I fully believe that.
Mark doesn't have an affinity for John Gruden. He has an obsession with John Gruden.
Well, that's fair.
That's the whole thing. And I told Jack this numerous times. I could have seen him installing John Gruden as the director of football operations or the GM because he had total control anyway. But as far as the Cliff Kingsbury thing goes, Cliff Kingsbury, if he put him at a general in form of a battle, he's going to win you the first skirmish, and that's it. He'll win you the first year. And then after that, he's going to fall back into the woodwork. You saw what happened in Washington year 2. Now, I know they had a ton of injuries, and the Raiders can certainly relate to that. But Kingsbury comes in, makes a flash, and then just kind of fades back into the bushes. That's what he's always done.
I'm going to start calling him Stonewall Kingsbury then.
There you go. Hey, if the shoe fits, wear it. Listen, guys, I need to jump off. Murph, I hope you stay on with Jack here for a while, but I need to dash. It's great seeing you. Those of you who are on, I want to pump up the One Nation Foundation and all the good work that Murph and Swag Jeff and Michelle, everybody are doing every week. You listeners just amaze me, and just operating from my assistant to the assistant position. I'm with you guys every week. So love you all. Jack, we'll get together again next week. Murph, thanks so much for jumping on, and we'll get together again real soon.
Hey, brother, thank you so much, man. Appreciate the kind words, and always great to see you, T-Hom, and always great to trade some paint with you, brother. And thank you for all you do to support not only Raiders Fan Radio, but the One Nation Foundation, man. We thank you very, 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 very much.
You all take care. We'll be together again real soon.
All right,
gotta go out. Gotta go. There you go. Got to go out with the ball. Thank you there, sir. Raider Fester.
All right.
karaoke. What is it? Karaoke man?
Karaoke Kid, T-Hom, T3. I mean, I go by lots of different names.
Sergeant
Okay.
Joe Friday.
Joe Friday. Yeah, exactly. All right. You all take care. We'll see you soon.
All right. See you, T-Hom.
Professor.
He's
And
such a good
again,
dude.
he's awesome.
Guy, take a second. I just want to give him some flowers, man. T-Hom has been a huge supporter of Raiders Fan Radio for a long, long time, as you have and as many of you have. But he consistently calls the show. He consistently interacts with the show. He helps provide our episode numbers and ties them back to something significant within Raider Nation. We just have a lot of fun, trading paint with that guy, man. So I just want to give him his flowers and thank him very much for what he does for Raiders Fan Radio.
That's awesome. Again, I've been remiss. I don't get a chance to listen as much now, but also it was now I got to figure out, is it a Wednesday or a Thursday now? Are you going, because I always want to make sure I'm trying to get you, but then you said you were switching things.
Yeah, we're ideally Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, youtube.com/Raiders Fan Radio, or you can find us on any audio podcast service just by searching Raiders Fan Radio. But yeah, we've done some Tuesdays, done some Thursdays, and that's just, going through the holidays, going through the Christmas season and the New Year, and our travel going out there. When we saw you, going out to the last game in Vegas, we've kind of been all over the board as far as Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But ideally, it's every Wednesday at 4 p.m. On the Pacific.
Okay, well, that's good, because I don't do, other than and Peggy and I were doing like every other Wednesday, because I like to give her a voice as well. People jump in on that show because Peggy and I usually scream at each other for about, a lot of that time. And it gets volatile, but it's entertaining, I've been told. But I want to make sure that I say you more often. So get on Wednesdays, because I can do Wednesdays and I can see Wednesdays, and I won't do shit as much on Wednesdays. But and I'm glad you're here. You got, like I said, you have a standing invitation. And if I have to send you the link in email, I will, because I have no problem doing that. But
you hit me up tonight, and my wife is out of town for work. And so I was hanging out upstairs, just sitting by the fire, you know what I mean? Listening to a podcast, just kind of hanging out and enjoying some quiet time. And I saw that email pop through, and I thought, oh, heck yeah, man. Let me go check out Cap. Let me see what he's got going on down there. So yeah, absolutely. This is a perfect time to do it. And I'll do it as much as I can, because I love you, brother. And I love talking Raiders with you, and your audience and your listeners are fantastic. And so, yeah, anytime we can trade paint, I will. We got a lot going on. We're going to have more going on too. We've got some really cool stuff, not to try to be teasy or nothing, but we've got some really cool stuff coming up for Raiders Fan Radio, the One Nation Foundation, and what we're doing with our shows as a whole. The whole Murph's Fan Cave thing is going to start branching out. We've got 2 more shows coming on the horizon. And we've had an incredibly kind, generous person that's going to, an entity that's going to kind of enable us to be able to do that by I'll just say investing in what we do.
Wow.
And so it's
that's
so
a real
cool.
clap. That's a real clap. That's none of that can stuff. That's a real clap, and that's awesome for you.
Thank you, brother. We're literally inking and I can say this now because we're literally inking the contract tomorrow. It's so fantastic, man, what we're gonna do, and we're gonna branch out. We're gonna keep Raiders Fan Radio the way it is. But we're going to branch out. We're going to be doing some other shows as well. We're going to be doing some more short form stuff and a lot more frequent, man. It's not going to be this once a week, once every 2 weeks kind of thing that we've been doing for so many years because we're now going to be enabled to be able to do a lot more. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up for us. But I want to make it about me. But I just want to say that or us. But I want to say thank you to all the support that we've had along the way. And we're going to keep bringing more. So that Wednesday show, Jack, that Wednesday show will always be there. And then there's going to be a lot more coming along with that. So it should be a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, I mean, I'm retired now, whether I like it or not. So I do this and go to a doctor's appointment. So hit me up for pretty much anything. You laugh. I do. That's all I do. Doctor's appointments and go talk to Social Security or the VA or TRICARE. That's about it. That's all I'm really doing now. Or do shows. That's what keeps me active. So you wanted to ask me a question, and I didn't blow you off. I threw shit at you to kind of offset you. What did you want to ask me? And I'm sorry that if you wanted to ask me and T-Hom that it's not there because I flacked you. But what did you want to ask me?
Well, I wanted to ask you, so, okay, again, going back to the gray beard thing, you got gray in your beard just like I do, and you and I have been a fan of this football team for a very, very long time. So we are coming off of a historically bad season, and one of the worst. We're talking 2006 territory, and other than that, it would have been teams back in the 60s that probably you or I don't remember.
No, I wasn't, even I wasn't alive back then.
That's what I'm saying.
The early Raiders, yeah.
Right, like the 60-61 Raiders, like you and I don't know. You and I don't know that team. So other than 2006 is our only reference point, right? So we're coming off of this historically bad thing, and I've sworn off the idea of, being sold in the off season. I'm only going to be sold when the results are on the field. If the Raiders start 6-2 next year, okay, I'm going to start to buy in, kind of a thing, right? All that said, so has this been, I know you're not down as a guy because you're a great guy. You've got a great spirit about you. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about you as a fan, especially as a Raider fan. Has this been the most you've been down yet? Is this also the most optimism you've had because of what the potential could be should these things start to line up? If the planets align the way that we expect they could, has this been the biggest whoop that maybe we've ever gone through because off of 2006, what do? We drafted Jamarcus and then shit. And nothing happened out of it, right? And so it's like, so maybe 2014, I don't know, I don't want to answer the question for you, but like, has this been, do you expect it to be one of the biggest shifts emotionally? And has it been already one of the biggest shifts you anticipate emotionally as a fan?
Before I answer that, let me tell you the story about when I'm not that when I met him, but Bruce Gradkowski was there at one of the bars that I used to bounce at, right? By the way, I bounced Donald Penn out of that bar. It was, me plus two bookends, because Donald Penn ain't getting out because I told him to get out. Yeah. Me plus two bookends, and I was the nice bouncer, right? But Gradkowski was over at the bar that I was bouncing at, and he goes, "Hey Chief," because that was my bouncer name is Chief. He goes, "Hey Chief, come here. I got somebody I want you to talk to." I'm like, cool. So Bruce introduced me. He says, "This is Joe Schlabotnik," because I don't know what his name was, and you know who Joe Schlabotnik is because you're an old gray beard like me, from Charlie Brown days. This is whoever, and he is the LSU senior offensive assistant or offensive coordinator or offensive something from LSU. And my eyes twinkled up. And I'm like, oh, cool. What can you tell me about Jamarcus Russell? Oh, because Gradkowski wasn't on our team yet. He was still with the Bucks, and he would come in, and my eye, I was like, oh. So I get some intel. I said, what can you tell me about Jamarcus Russell? And this is a visual more than it is a sound. So you're going to have to look at me on this one. And I'll take the hat off so you can see it. Right. So I asked him the question. And he's like, the heave, the sigh, the heave, and the shaking of the head. And from that point on, I'm like, wow, we are fucked. So that was it. Now, and back to your question, because I would never, because sometimes I get the old man with the squirrel, and I forget what I'm talking about.
Hey, bro, I'm right with you on that. Absolutely.
Is yes. The answer is yes. Because last year, as Tom was saying to us, Pete Carroll was feeding all Raider Nation a line of bullshit. Oh, I'm gonna win. I'm used to winning 10 games. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. And I'm like, okay. And I bought in. I was a sucker. But I bought in. It's like, oh, Pete Carroll. And I pounded the fist. You know, Pete Carroll was the best head coach available at the time. I don't want to talk about the guy that went to the Bears because he was in. I said, yeah, I wouldn't be mad if he's our head coach, but I'd rather have Pete Carroll. And that's not revisionist history. I was fucked up, but he was the best head coach at the time that could have come in. And I'm like, whoa, we got Pete Carroll. And that is a pedigree head coach. And I'm looking for it. I said, okay, I don't expect him to. And I said, I'll take the Vegas bet. I said, yeah, 6.5. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. We won what, 4 or 5 the previous year. I said, yeah, I can. Yeah, I'll take that. Easiest bet I ever made.
Same.
And I go to New England first, and I'm like, yeah, look at that. Look, yeah, beat the Pats. Yeah, boy. Here we go. And what happened after that? I was at every decimating loss, spank loss, in Kansas City, front row, 31-0. In Indianapolis, front row, I don't even remember what the fucking score was. In where else do we get our ass? Oh, in DC. Every time we got our ass kicked, except for Philly, because I knew that was going to be, except for Philly, I did not, because I'm from Philly. I ain't going to go to Philly in December when it's cold and nasty and there's a bunch of Philly fans there. And yeah, I'm here for all, I'm a Philly fan, but not, this sport. I wasn't going there. So I missed it. So I saw like, oh my God, all this shit. So yes, I am more optimistic and it's going to bubble. It's going to get better. It's going to get better because I know we got the number 1 pick and I'm not 100% on Mendoza, but looking around, I'm like, why not? It's not Moore. I told Moore needed to go back to college, and I think he made the right decision.
I do too.
We got Mendoza and a new staff because it's on the new staff. So you get Mendoza and a new staff and the right people with Spike. I like Spytek, man. I like Spytek, what he can do. And people are not. I was like, no, I think Spytek is going to be that guy. And you put him in the right spot. Brady, okay. He comes along for the thing, but Brady is your front man to get people in the building, and Spytek wows them with his knowledge. Okay?
Yep.
So I am more happy about that as long as, because I'm going to pound it on this, as long as you get Mendoza a fucking offensive line and an offensive line coach, which we didn't have last year with Tweedlefuck Brennan Carroll. I had an argument with the show I was on the other day. I said, whose offensive line was worse? The Chargers said theirs offensive line was worse. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding. It was ours. At least your offensive line coach who you fired has offensive line pedigree. Ours didn't. So it was funny. We were arguing who had the worst offensive line. Again, back to your question. The right coach, the right atmosphere, the right organization, the fact that a GM is going to pick the new head coach, which is something that the Raiders have been doing ass backwards for fucking how many years.
Yeah.
I have, some stars in my eyes, and I want to see this, Murph. I said one time before they plant this old fucker, yarg, you fuckers. I want to see a Lombardi hoisted, but you know what? I would at least like to see before they plant me this team not being the butt of everybody's fucking jokes about the worst team in professional football. And they don't go with the old standbys. It's not the Cleveland Browns. It's not the Cincinnati Bengals. It's not the Arizona Cardinals, although those franchises are putrid. The Vegas Raiders, always the worst team. So I am happy. I'm jubilant and I'm going to be front row with a bunch of games because I'm even selling my 2 tickets where I have them to get front row in Vegas next year with Hollywood. Well, I got to pay up for that, so I got to sell my 2 tickets to pay up for that. And on the road, I will be literally front row for every game that I can think of to watch this team. And like you, hey, I'll take 5, 6, 7 wins next year because you got to build. But I'll be happy about that because I will see that we're on the ascension. And that's all I ask. There was nothing that gave you any pause for optimism on this team this year. Nothing. The only reason why I went to all the games that I did at the very end was because I go to see people and it keeps my heart going because I have a bad ticker. It keeps my mind happy to see all of the people of Raider Nation and then friends and the family. That's why I go to the games is to hang out with people. It makes me feel good. Now I'm in the off season. Fuck, what am I going to do? So I'm going to El Paso next week to do a signing with Los Rudos and all those guys. And I'll go and do different things as I can because I want to be in the element. I said I'd come up to I'd hang out in Tennessee if I could figure out what, when I can, make sure I'm not hitting you on a bad weekend or whatever, or day. I'll do that because seeing people is what I want to do. So the answer, I know it's long-winded because it's me. It's a fucking long-winded old fucker that you're going to have. The answer is yes. Start with Mendoza, but I want to see who the coach is and who the coordinators are. And then get me the guy, give me Linderbaum, get me Walker, get me some guys up front, and draft 1 or 2. And we can only get better. And it's going to gel. It's going to gel. And I really believe it this year.
Will you have patience if those type things come together and we win 5 games? Are you still patient at the end of the season?
Yeah. Because I know it's going to get better. With Carroll's staff, knowing what I knew about him dictating over Chip Kelly, telling Chip Kelly how to run his fucking offense, having his 2 sons do on a payroll doing nothing. Let me be the fucking offensive line coach. I mean, I'm offensive line coach material. I would do a better job than fucking Brendan Carroll did. I don't know what the fuck his other son did, but it wasn't anything of value. And, the staff, there was nothing. And it was harsh to see every day when they're going out in Vegas, when they're going right by my seats, because my seats are right by the tunnel, and just seeing these guys, looking miserable after every game. It was hard to see. So I will be, it was great to see them when they came off against Kansas City. Yeah, there was our feeble, whatever we had at the time, against their feebles, whatever we have at the time. But it was good to see them jubilant on the way out of that tunnel. It was
Absolutely.
great.
You know what? And I'm going to throw this at you too, Captain, because you were there at the tailgate with us. Going into that trip, this last trip out to Vegas to see the Raiders play, it was mind-boggling to me that here I was, never seen them play the Chiefs. I've seen a million Raider games in my life, but I've never seen them play the Chiefs. And the gentleman that threw on the tailgate for us, Gil, was very generous and shared his tickets with us. He's got phenomenal seats in the Twitch lounge. Like it's an absolute experience on game day. We know what the tailgate situation is like, what that scene is like. And even though it's, in a bad year and it's much, much smaller than what Oakland was, and it condenses down as the team gets worse, it's still for that, that block, it's still that Oakland energy. It feels great. Raider Nation is bumping. Like it's a lot of fun there. The food is amazing. The drinks are fantastic. The company is the best of all. Like it's such a great scene right there. But going into that, I was like, I don't know how excited I am to watch the Raiders. Like, and we didn't know if we were going to have the number 1 pick. And I'm like, I can't fathom this idea that I'm going to sit in this glorious seat with my wife and my best friend and Gil and just like hang out and like watch our football team and not be thrilled if they win. It was such a weird thing. But then the clouds parted, the angels sang, and Jackson Dart and freaking New York Giants won their game. And next thing you know, it was like it didn't matter what the outcome of the game was. And didn't you feel, or not want to answer the question for you, did you feel the energy go in the tailgate? The energy around the stadium inflated, and the excitement really started to build. And it was this idea that, like, okay, not only do we have the number one pick and our potential future locked up, now we can be fired up to go in there and watch us kick the shit out of the Chiefs. I don't care if there's mostly scrubs or not. I don't care how many injuries they have. Travis Kelce's still going to be on that field. Andy Reid's still going to be coaching that team. And and even though a touchdown didn't get scored, we got to go in there and see the Raiders win their first division game in 2 years. Like, gosh bless it. So did you feel that energy coming up, Jack, or was that just me and us? And
No. But the energy was lifted. I didn't know we had the number one pick until I got to the seats. And then somebody showed me on the phone, because I walked in with I strolled in with my two beautiful bodyguards, if you remember them. Like, not bad, dude. So I stroll in with my two ladies, and then Hollywood's wife was also one of the extra seats that I had. I had the 4 tickets, and then I don't remember who it was that showed me on the phone, and it was Schefter saying, with the Giants win, the Raiders now are locked in at the number one. And I was like, great. Because even when Violator says just lose, baby, on the show prior, Violator would never, ever, ever say such words. But even he was like, we knew all we had to do was not to fuck up and get the number one pick. And I love Violator. Violator would never say that. And I was afraid to say it, at least out loud. But he said it, and I said, good. Because Violator says that I can fucking say it too. Just lose, baby. But I didn't even have to do that anymore. I said, we got the number one pick. And wouldn't it be great to beat those fucking Chiefs for the first time in Allegiant? Because I've seen a bunch of games with Kansas City, and Kansas City usually boat races us in Allegiant, and we won. And it was a hell of a game. It was one of the best games that I remember seeing. Goes up there with the first game where we beat the Ravens on the Monday night opener on the first, where they had the fans in there. It was up there with the game against the Patriots where we won on the fumbleception, where Chandler Jones was running right at me.
Oh my God. That game was, we were there for that one too. It wasn't that damn fun, man. That was because we thought, because the Patriots started coming back, and we were like, oh my gosh, this thing is gonna, here comes the Raider game. We had a freaking dominant game most of the time, and then here we go in that last play, and Jacoby Myers throws that backwards pass. Chandler Jones picks it, spikes Mac Jones's face into the freaking core of the earth, and runs it right into you for the touchdown, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there were games. I said, and those came to mind. The energy and the rush of the entire crowd cheering, and the jubilation that you had with everybody there was one of those games. It was the Zay Jones game or the Chandler Jones game, and maybe one other. And there was one other game that I remembered. Now I can't remember it. It was top 4, but it was probably top because of beating the Chiefs after we got the number one pick and seeing everybody in the stadium just that was there. That was a Raiders fan, because remember, it was like 30% Raiders fans, 40% Kansas City fans, and about 30% empty seats. The people that were there got a chance to see it.
And wasn't it wild too? Something else that I want to get your thoughts on, because you've been to way more games than I have at Allegiant Stadium, and I've probably been to 8 to 10 at this point. I'd have to count them, but wasn't it interesting that at the tailgate, we counted, because we started counting once we realized it was becoming a thing. We counted 20 opposing teams' fans' jerseys and gear. So it wasn't just Raiders fans and Chiefs fans. There were Chargers jerseys. There were Bills jerseys. There were Cowboys jerseys. There were Eagles jerseys. There were like no joke. It was 20 different teams. The majority of the league was represented in fandom. And so while you like, I hear you loud and clear that like, yeah, the majority of the fans that were there were Chiefs fans, but there was a shit ton of fans from other teams that had no representation in that game. And the only thing I can think of is that the casinos are giving their, preferred players tickets and flying them in or whatever else.
Yeah. And you'll see that. And that's why I said,
is that common? I guess that's what I'm asking. Is that common? Have you seen that before?
Yeah, I'm maybe not 20 different teams, but yeah, you'll see, and I will go over to it like, and I'll make fun of it. I was like, dude, you are really fucking lost. I don't know what team I'm talking to, but whoever it is with a jersey that like the Sesame Street thing, one of these things doesn't belong here type of thing.
Yeah.
With that person, I'm like, dude, you are really fucking lost, but welcome to the stadium. But yeah, no, if you counted 20, I remember it's the casinos giving away the shit. And the Saturday before, if you were out in Vegas, because I was out there on Saturday, and I'm like,
yeah, we were there.
And there was a shit ton of Niner jerseys.
Yes, that was another one. Yes.
There was a shit ton of Niner jerseys. I'm like, what is there, a fucking Niner convention here in town? And I forgot that they were playing that night.
Yep.
That's because I couldn't fathom it. I'm like, what is going on? And I didn't. Then the old Jewish guy. There's a reason that the Niner jerseys were there, because the Niners were playing that day and they were showing their colors. So that's what it was too. But yeah, you know what? Because I got my 2 tickets, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna sell them anyway to help pay for somebody for me to be up front, because I'm sick and tired. I go to all the road games, and occasionally I'll get on TV. Occasionally, and usually it's when I'm with.
A lot. I see you on the regular, Jack.
No. I'm telling you, I made TV twice this year. Twice. It was in DC, and it was the last game because I moved up 2 rows and I caught the attention of the camera guy, because I made them, you like that, and it was like there was a lot of people there, so the camera guy got me. And I remember, I will always know when I'm on TV because my phone blows up. And it's only blew up.
Texted you before and been like, oh my gosh, send you screenshots of me taking pictures of my TV.
Yeah, because if nobody shows me, or if my phone doesn't blow up, I know I didn't make it. Now, in Houston, one of my gal pals said, hey, you're in your front row in your gear, right? And I said, of course. She goes, yeah, I just saw on the YouTube broadcast where they zoomed in on you and then they zoomed out real quick. And I was like, do you have a screenshot? She goes, no. So I might have made it for a little bit on the YouTube broadcast in Houston, but that's it this year. That was it. Front row in all those other fucking stadiums. And the only one that they caught me on TV was in DC.
Wow. But you've been on TV 100 freaking times, man.
And almost every time, not every time, but almost every time, it's because Hollywood's with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If I'm with Hollywood, we're making TV.
Okay.
I'm making TV. So, and it was also funny that for the YouTube pregame of the matchup between the Raiders and the Chiefs on the YouTube show, it was footage of the DC game. So I was in like the B-roll showing the Raider coverage and then the Chiefs coverage. So I was in the B-roll for the Chiefs versus the Raiders, and it's like, it's not going to take a pirate this year to, I don't know. They worked in the pirate thing, and they had my thing on there. And again, I enjoy it because people will say I saw you, But the thing that I love the best is that when people tell their kids, or I said, Jack, we were at this game, and I remember you from Oakland. I remember you in Tennessee. I remember you from Houston. I remember you from Jacksonville. And they go through all of the games that are on the road. And I said, and you were there. And I remember we were talking. That is the best thing that anybody ever told us, that they see me at away games more than they see other people. That is what I cherish, that people see me there.
That's cool, man. So I got one more question for you, and then I got to go because my 200-pound dog is over here telling me he's got to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
And when you have a 200-pound dog, it's like a man telling you he has to go to the bathroom. You don't want that in the middle of the floor.
Well, I don't want that to happen. Yeah. Okay.
My big old English Mastiff over here, which is named Bomber, by the way. He's named after the Mad Bomber, Daryl LaMonica.
Nice. Well, then you and Sousa should get along real well. His show.
Who's that?
Johnny Sousa.
Oh, does he have a big dog?
Well, no, but he's the Mad Bomber podcast here on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Come here, Bomb. Come here. Come up. Show Jack your face. Come here. He's like, I don't want to. Come here. Get up. Get up. Come here.
There you go. Oh, that's a nice looking dog.
He's a big sweet baby, huh? Yeah. He's a big sweet boy. Anyways, all right. So I've got one more question for you. So out of all because I am frankly envious and admire your commitment, and many, many others too that do this, that travel to all of those away games, that go out there, like you mentioned, Tennessee, going to, well, of course, Tampa's an easy one for you. But going to Arizona, going to freaking Philly, going to Baltimore, going to all these different games that you go to. What has been the highlight one for you? Not being on TV, but like, because you've been on TV a million times, but what was the one that you were like, I was there front row and I saw this happen?
Wow. Fuck you for giving me a question that I don't have an answer to right off the bat.
Hey man, I'm a pro here, Jack. I'm telling you, this is what I do.
I will say that I can't get it down to one, but I'm going to give you the thought.
All right.
Walking out of Baltimore last year, winning, and walking out of Tampa the first time I went to the Tampa game, which would have been like, I was out of the nation, so it would have been like 06, 07.
Okay.
Walking out victorious, especially in Tampa when I had a bunch of fucking people in my ear, literally in my ear. And I was about ready to clock somebody. And my wife grabbed my arm, to make sure that I wasn't thrown in jail from all these people. And the feeling that you get when you have a hostile environment and a game that you're not supposed to win, like I said, for Baltimore last year, walking out like this, walking out like that is $1 million. And I remember I haven't seen a victory in New York yet, so I'm hoping to see that next year. In Tennessee, I remember a victory in Tennessee. We had
3 in a row.
Yeah.
15,
the banjo game, the Jordan banjo game around Halloween. I remember that game. That was a great game. The Lamont Jordan game. That was a game that it was great. But then I also remember all the other games going to New York when New York sucked so bad and we got rained on the entire game, and people even in New York were like, "Oh man, we're gonna suck this game," or going to Chicago as well. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, going against Tyler Bagent, and the game that we should win. And I kept telling people, I said, don't give us this W yet, because I've seen more shit about when the Raiders are supposed to win. Those are the games we fucking lose. And right. I've seen those games as well. So I'm sorry I can't really give you like the ones that I remember, because I've been very, very happy. I remember the very first game that I saw in Oakland that we won was the Thursday night game against the Chiefs, because that was the first game in Oakland that I went to that we won, and it was being rained on, and going out of the stadium with the elation.
Was that 2014? Was that the game where that was Derek's first win as a Raider?
Yes.
And C.O. Moore got the sack and didn't know what to do with himself, and Khalil Mack had to come out and grab him and drag him back to the line of scrimmage. That was amazing.
It wasn't Khalil Mack. It was the older guy that we got from the Giants that grabbed him to bring him back.
Oh, was it Justin Tuck?
It was Justin Tuck, because C.O. Moore and Mack were on the opposite side, and C.O. Moore was celebrating, and Tuck's like, "Whoa, get the fuck back here," because he would have been offsides. So he prevented a penalty for that. So yeah, I remember that. That was my very first Oakland win, and that is very, because I'd gone to Oakland many, many, many times, and we always got, well, I didn't say always got boat race, but we always kind of lost. I remember that game. I remember the game in Oakland where we beat the Broncos, where we had the I can't remember what his name was, but the punt returner that caught the ball at like it was a flub, and he got it at the 2-yard line, and he went for 98 yards.
Oh,
the other way.
Guy with the long dreads. What's his name?
Yeah. So those are games that I remember, and remember, and I tell people this, every game except for one game every 8 years, like for the Tampa game, is an away game for me. So that's why I treat them all like away games. And I know you got to get your dog out to pee or poop.
He's killing me over here. He's getting ready. I got to get him out of here. Oh, Dwayne Harris. That's who it was. Thank you, Mike Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing I got for you. Then I got to go. So, are you going to be in Vegas for the draft? Where are you going to be for the draft?
I'm going to be in Pittsburgh for the draft.
Oh, you're going to Pittsburgh. Okay. Good deal.
Yeah. Good deal. I go to the draft pretty much every year, and I've been to, that's one of the reasons that's a collection of seeing Raider Nation, as well as all your brothers and sisters that dress out. It's a big party, and I don't miss that for the world. One of these days I'll go to Vegas, but I like going to see everybody at the draft itself.
Very, very cool, man. There's a lot of friends of the show that are going to be out there for the draft in Pittsburgh as well. We're going to freaking Vegas. I want to be in Vegas for Fernando Mendoza. I don't know where, probably like Mandalay or Aria or whatever one of our stomping grounds is. But I cannot wait to see what it's going to look like. Wherever the Raider party is,
right?
Or Black Hole will do something or whatever. Like wherever that thing goes down, that's where we'll be. And man, I can't wait to see this thing, Jack. And so have a blast at the draft. I'm sure we'll talk before then, but have a blast at the draft and keep holding it down for Raider Nation. You are such an awesome ambassador for all of us Raider fans, and the way that you represent the Raiders at the games, on the road, at home, at the tailgates, everything else on your shows. We appreciate you, brother, so very, very much. And thank you for the invite tonight. Keep them coming. I don't know how many I would be able to make, but keep them coming, because if I can pop on, it's always an honor to pop on with you and with a kid that's a CB and active Navy. Brother, you know that holds a place in my heart too, and much respect for everything that you did with your commitment to our country and your service. I cannot thank you and honor you enough for that. And so, man, let's get together again soon. Let's do this again and freaking bless America. Go Raiders. Let's get this thing going in a positive direction.
And I know you have the canned thing, but this is for you, and that's for you, sir, as well. And I love that montage. You're gonna have to send that to me, or no, I know it's gonna be used for you, but you know what? I feel that it's awesome that you have that. You know, it makes me feel awesome that you have that.
Well, heck yeah, man, I got it right. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna play it one last time on my way out. How about that? It'll be my
I like that. Okay.
Are ya fuckers? This is Captain Jack.
You're listening to the soothing sounds of Raiders Fan Radio with Murph, Uncle Mosh, and that wonderful gentleman, Swag Jeff.
What the fuck are you doing?
I'll have to make a new one with you and get Michelle in there too. So
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. All right, Cat Jack, we love you, man. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks again, Murph. Thank you for coming in, and I will keep sending invites whenever you can. You can.
Absolutely, bro. Let's do it.
Take care, sir. Thank you for coming in today.
Yes, sir. Good night.
All right, that's Murph from Raider Fan Radio, and that is so awesome to have him here. We do have somebody else that's been backstage, and I have saw you. I apologize, shipmate. I'm going to bring you on now because I was looking for the right segue. And it was
I didn't want to interrupt in there. Murph had his thing going, I listened to when Raider Fester was still on, and Murph was flowing, but that's what Murph does. He's a professional radio guy, so but very cool, very cool. I hope we could have him on, especially going into now that the season is essentially over, right? Heard some of the things you guys are saying, Cap. I know the Fernando Mendoza thing is going to be this big subject, right? Fernando Mendoza, but I can't help but keep looking at this O-line situation, Captain, and there's a lot of good guys, man. That's what I do. Every year I look through, all right, who's going to be the draft, who's going to be this. There's this one kid that I'm also going to be paying attention to because everybody knows about the monster, Magawa. I'm failing to pronounce his name for Miami that's going to be playing on the national championship game. But there's this other guy that Chris from Protect the Shield podcast actually told me about. He was like, hey, man, I think we can get this guy. I'm looking for his name right now, Cap. He said, I think we can get this guy in the later rounds if we have it. The offensive tackle for Miami named Markel Bell. This freaking guy is 6'9", Cap. This is a big boy. So
now is that college 6'9", or is that in the program 6'9"?
I don't care. You know what? He's a giant. You put him down, because my whole idea was when I was talking to you and Raider Fester last week is I wanted Caden Proctor, and I was in this weird world where I was thinking, hey, maybe he'll drop to the second round. Cap, he's now being projected to be in the top 15 because he's 6'7", super athletic, 370 pounds. But it's the athletic part that throws everybody off.
Right.
He's a day one guard and he's a monster. And that's where I was kind of like, you know what, man? I mean, yes, I understand Fernando Mendoza, but if I'm being honest, I'll give you a scenario because I don't think the Jets will do it. I don't think they're stupid enough to move up one and give up.
I don't know. Wait a second. Wait. You just heard the words Jets stupid enough, and I would say no. I wouldn't count that one out because they also have 3 first-rounders and like 2 or 3 first-rounders next year. They got a litany, a plethora, a cornucopia. I'll throw some of those big words out. Not that I'm taking them, but yeah, they got a bunch of fucking picks that they can throw at us. And then, and Mike, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Actually, both of us are going to get to that in a minute. What you're saying, but go ahead there, Angelo. You were saying
so Mike Sarah. Look, I understand what you're going off. Look, first of all, first thing we got to figure out is who's the head coach, and then when that head coach appears, who's the O-line coach, right? Because to me, it's always been about the trenches, right? But statistically speaking, they're throwing out all the different stats, right? This year's Raiders O-line is the worst in history statistically.
I had that the other day that I could have thrown up at the fucking coach and RG because they're saying that their offensive line was worse than ours.
No, in fact, they even showed a stat where Forsythe was the O-lineman that gave up the most sacks, and he only played half the season. So how do you give up the most sacks but play less games than everybody else who gave it up? But the top 2 guys that gave up the most sacks was DJ Glaze and then Stone Forsythe, right? Now
send that shit to me, dude. I'll find the because somebody did the stat breakdown on like an Instagram. And I was like, this is crazy. But, having said that, I'm tired. Mike Sarah, listen to me, man. I'm tired of potential. Okay. And I certainly don't want to throw a rookie quarterback in front of
what could potentially be a good O-line.
Yeah.
I need them to either be good, or if it's going to be one of these, oh, well, we're just going to learn again year. I'm not even if we draft Mendoza, I'm not throwing his ass out there. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit you behind Aiden O'Connell, and maybe like in the later part of the year when the O-line gets it together, I'll throw you out there, right? But I'm not getting you hurt. I'm not about to invest the first round overall pick just to get him hurt because people don't understand how football works. You know, like, no, man, he needs to be protected. So let's go over the O-lines, right? Colton Miller, we got him for 2 more years. I don't think anyone's gonna want to trade for him. And honestly, I wouldn't want to trade him anyways. He's 30 years old. We're paying him anyway. It's hard to find experienced left tackle. So what's the key thing about Colton Miller? How can we get him to not get injured? Right? Like that. So that's gonna be all up to the O-line coaches, the O-line team, how we do it together. Then we already got rid of Parham. So now we don't have a left guard.
Well, not yet. I mean, he's still under contract, but he's gone.
No, he's gone. No, because I looked and as of this season, that was his contract. So he's done. Unless he wants to come back and renew, which in all honesty, I think Dylan Parham will actually get a job somewhere. I think somebody will pick him up. And again, it'll all depend on who our coaching staff is on whether or not we'll renew him. But in all honesty, Cap, unless it's like a good deal, like we can move on from him, right? And get better. Now, this is the big question for me. So do you put JPJ back on center, or do you go spend a ton of money on Lindenbaum and go get the main guy? Now, here's the problem with the Lindenbaum thing. You know who's projected to actually get him? The Chargers.
Right. And that was the other thing is the Chargers are going to be our number one.
Us, right? Yeah. So good Lord help me if the Chargers have Alt, Slater, Lindenbaum, and draft someone like Caden Proctor who they'll have a pick to go get Caden Proctor. Now you got Becton, Proctor.
No, Becton
Lindenbaum.
No. Becton, they even said on the show that Becton didn't do shit, that he was basically a waste of money.
Okay.
So Becton's not, and these are guys that know their team like we know our team, right?
All right. So they're not happy with Becton. Okay. Well, they're locked into Becton for at least another 2 more years because it was when they signed him up, I think it was a 2 or 3 year contract. I'll have to look up the exact.
I think it was 2. And they were talking about, see ya.
Oh, just cutting them? Okay. All right.
They'll take the hit.
Okay.
Because other when they said that when Becton was playing in Philly, he was playing with Johnson. He was playing with whoever the right tackle. He was playing with all of these guys that made him look incredibly better.
Right.
He wasn't shit in New Jersey either.
Right. But yeah, so then let's say we go with, hey, JPJ, we'll give you a chance at your natural position because that's what you did in college. You're back to center, right? Okay, let's say we go with that. Well, now we don't have that right guard unless we're saying Caleb Rogers is ready, right?
Or Glaze slides over to guard because I think that he would be a better guard than he is a tackle.
Possible.
We actually used Charles Grant at one of the
tackle. Okay. All right.
Here's the other because I can see if you're going to have JPJ at center, and I'm not all about JPJ at center. He's going to be part of our interior offensive line. I know.
Sure.
But I like JPJ at guard. And if the Chargers get Lindenbaum, I can see that because they got a lot of money to spend too.
They do. So do we, Cap. We're number 2.
But we're gonna have to overspend, and it's going to be up to: do you want to go to LA or do you want to go to Vegas? And the other thing is that it also depends on who our coaching staff is because that's the sweetener.
Right.
Coaching staff because Vegas doesn't have the taxes. That the criminal state of the communist wealth of California. I know they're not a commonwealth, but they might as well fucking be a communist wealth of California because all of their games are taxable. Because remember, folks, if you don't know this, the only games that aren't taxed for the Raiders are the home games. Because if you go to another city, you are taxed when you go to that city. It's not all 16 or 17 games. It's the Vegas games are tax-free. If you go to Texas, that's also tax-free. If you go to Georgia, that's tax-free, I believe. But it's those games. So you got to figure out what's on the schedule. But yeah, the Raider games, at least half your games are going to be tax-free.
Right. So then there's that competition. But all right, so you're saying we move Glaze over. So yeah. I mean, like, look, we gave capital for Rodgers. So, you know, he's really like a learning swing tackle. But, you know, this is where that when you say Mike Sarah, hey, we got 4 good O-line, I disagree. We have some talent, but we need to see if they are really good or not, right?
By the way, that's not Miller. Our one good guy that we know we have, in my mind, is JPJ.
Yeah, I mean that's about it, right? And then again, we still don't know where the potential really will lie. But again, this is my point about there's no point in us grabbing Mendoza if we're just gonna not have a really good plan in order to keep it as a sustainable thing. Because again, let us not forget, what is the number one reason why you get a quarterback in the draft? It's so that if you can do it like Cincinnati did, you'll get a shot at the Super Bowl before that contract turns into a $65 million a year contract. And you only have like a 5-year window of time, if you're lucky, in order to keep that rookie contract. Now, Fernando Mendoza was going, let's say, to the LA Rams, right? Let's just say that's what was happening. They're ready to roll.
Yeah, they'd be like perennial NFC championship games every year.
Exactly. Because they're ready to roll. They got the receivers, they got the O-line, they're ready. We're not ready to roll. No matter how much everybody wants to force the issue, we're not. And what do I always say, Cap? Year one rookie coaches or year one coaches, period. Please do not put that much pressure on them. They're all going to be not good first year. It didn't matter who it was. Josh McDaniels wasn't great year one. I mean, he wasn't.
Wait. Which year one? Year one in Denver or year one here?
Yeah, well, both year. I mean, any year was, but you know what I'm saying, right, Cap? Because there's a certain bit of chemistry that needs to be done, right? There's some veteran old we got our star player Max Crosby. You got to please him. Like Dan Campbell is an excellent example of this. Came in and they even showed it where he was like, I care about you guys so much. I care about you guys so much. It took him up to year 3 to finally become a playoff contender. And then year 4 is when the expectations started coming up. And now they're expected, right? Now it's like an expectation. That's what I want, Cap. I would love for us to be in a conversation. I would love for everybody to be like, well, we expect the Raiders to maybe make it to the Super Bowl. By 2028, I would absolutely love that.
Right. It's not happening in 26.
It's not happening in 26.
27.
Right. We might sneak into playoffs in 27.
Better in 27.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm looking at, so I got to live to at least 28. So
right.
Please,
and the 2020
one too, you know, there's this one, you know, the Jewish one. Because I got the Christian one, you know, so.
Yeah, pray no more, Cap. Pray no more. Buddha, everything, right?
Do the palms up. Allah,
right, everything.
Allah, you know,
all of it. But if the plan is Spytek goes, you know what? I'm gonna get this coach, X coach. We're going all in. Fernando Mendoza. We're gonna spend our money to protect them. And the plan is for us to go to the Super Bowl in the 2028 season. Well, that makes sense to me.
I like that plan.
Yeah, I like that plan too. But you got to show me. And this is where I'm like, there's so many good linemen on this draft. Especially like in the later, like we got to build that. If we're going to build one with Mendoza, we got to build the other one behind him too, right? So that by year 4, we have somebody good. So it can't be a bunch of like retreads and repieces. Lindenbaum, I understand, may be too expensive. Maybe he'll be outbid. Honestly, when it comes down to money, if we give equal money to Lindenbaum, he would probably want to come to us just because taxes, like you said, right, Cap? But in terms of team growth, it's hard to say I don't want to be the center for Justin Herbert, right? Like he's pretty good. But again, it's all going to be about what you said, the head coach. Having said that, Cap, though, the O-line is a problem. And then we have 10 picks, so I like that we have 10 picks, but if Spytek does not hit the home runs on this one, I am going to really hold him accountable. I gave him a pass for this past year because it's like a weird mixture.
Wait a second. Why are you down on his picks this year when he was not? I mean,
okay. I'll tell you. I'll give you one example already. Okay.
Okay.
So in the second round, you took Jack Besh. Okay. There were plenty of O-line that I wanted in the second round that he totally passed up on that all did well this year. Okay. Like if you look at the second round draft O-line, go look at what their statistics were. Right.
Okay.
I believe the Jack Besh pick was maybe influenced by Pete Carroll. Now we go to the third round. That Darian Porter pick, seriously, Cap, that one killed me because Salvanea from Arizona, the lineman, was right there. They go with Porter.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I feel like he wasn't in charge. It was a combination of I don't want to disrespect the other scouts that were already here, that already was doing this job before I got here. On top of, oh man, I really don't want to be disrespectful to Pete Carroll either. So I like that
that's not his fault though.
No, that's why I'm saying I gave him a pass, and I like that in the press conference. He was holding ownership to it this time where he was saying, at the end of the day, I am the GM and it falls on me. And I like that. So what I kept saying is great. I want to make sure you keep that same exact energy in Pittsburgh when you go to the draft, where when somebody's trying to talk you out of a gut feeling that you have, I want you to go, nope, I'm going with my gut feeling. And my gut feeling says this person is who we're taking.
I mean, I'll give you that with the big butt, and I won't get up and turn around and show you the big butt. Okay. The big butt being if he got the picks because Pete said to get the picks.
Or influence them in some way.
Or influence them, okay. But I will say the picks he got are good players, which were not developed.
Okay. I'll give you that one.
Because of the fucked up staff that we had.
I'll give you that.
Even Richie Incognito said that the reason why Grant and Rodgers aren't playing is because of coaching.
Right. The
coaches did not get these guys ready to play.
Right.
We can also do that about Chris Beatty. We have Thornton and Besh, and we only saw them at the very end starting to be somewhat productive because Chris Beatty, and I had nothing bad to say about Chris Beatty as a whole, but when your picks are not producing at the levels, Besh being a second-round pick and Thornton being a fourth-round pick, though, when you go through picks, and I said, if you're picks 1, 2, 3, or 4, you need to be fucking producing
100%.
that first year.
Yeah, and we want to see production like Brock Bowers style. Right. Yeah.
Right. So I'm saying if and by the way, Genty produced behind a shitty offensive line.
He did.
To the utmost of what he could do. So Genty wasn't a bad pick.
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
Right.
He wasn't a bad pick, but he's
now. If you're saying we should have gotten,
go ahead, Cap. No,
we should have gotten a line with these picks. I said, okay, sure.
Yeah.
The value would probably been there. I will say that, yes, that's probably true, but he was handcuffed by the fucking gray haired, and I'll say I don't have gray hair. Well, not too much.
Right. No,
I have
agree.
I have a lot of the gray hair over here. But he was hamstrung by that. And then the coaching was Pete's fuck twat staff and him overseeing what Chip Kelly was doing which fucked up Chip Kelly, and I'm sure he fucking told Patrick Graham, yeah, that's nice, but do this.
Right.
So he was instrumental in fucking up this team. Period.
Right.
And Mike, we got Mendoza. We get it, but they better do something. And when Mike Serve says we have 3 or 4 good offensive linemen, no, we got one.
We don't. One maybe 2, right? And then we'll see, right? Yeah,
and Miller.
No, and all I'm trying to say, Cap, is the Genty pick is a classic example of, yes, did Genty do well? Sure. Is he talented? Yes. None of us were not backing that up. What we were all saying prior to the draft, before the Genty pick, is there are so many running backs in this particular year's draft that it actually, and we always go, well, hindsight's 2020, but we were actually right in this set. We were correct because Henderson did well. Judkins did well. Like, all of the people that got picked after Genty actually did extremely well, Captain. So that's what was bothering us. It's like, dude, we could have gotten Armand Membu. Armand Membu ended up ending the year as the best,
and Fuaga the year before.
The year before, and then we wouldn't have this whole, what are we going to do with the O-line? And I know it's not the sexy pick, guys. I know. But I don't care about sexy because I want some longevity, and I want us to be back. You know, the Madden movie's coming out this year. Let's go back to the Madden idea of, why don't we build up the trenches? Because it's all about these guys first, right? So will I be mad if Mendoza's the number 1 pick? Absolutely not. Because even if Mendoza ends up being a bust, I wouldn't be able to blame Spytek for taking Mendoza. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. Everybody's saying he's the surefire pick, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to just have to trust that the gut instincts of the top brass, along with development, will make the best choice that they can. What I was going to throw out there, though, Cap, is if we were to get a call, okay, and let's say I'm just going to throw out the scenario because I really don't think the Jets are stupid enough to do this. But I can see someone stupid enough to do this unless they get a really good head coach, which they haven't gotten yet at this point. Let's say there's some rumors that maybe Mike McDaniel might end up going to maybe Cleveland is a destination, right, or something. But Cleveland has 2 first-round picks this year, right? They got a few first-round, they got a first round. So, and it had to be a King's ransom deal. But here's a scenario I threw out. I'm like, I'll accept this. If the Browns were to say, we'll give you both our first-round picks this year, so it's the number 6 and I think the number 18. I have to look back at it, but it's number 6 and then it's another one. We'll give you our 2027 first. We'll give you our 2028 first, and we'll give you Shedeur Sanders on top of that. I'd be like, you know what? That's 4 first-round picks. I get 2 this year to really do something with it, right? And I have a number 6, and I'll have to look again. I think it's like number 18 or so. It's one of the low ones. I got 2 picks this year. I got your first, which if you suck, it might end up being a first-round pick again the following year, right? Which is what happened to Chicago. You remember, like, they ended up getting 2 back-to-back first rounds. That's how they got Caleb Williams. So I would consider it. I'd be like, you might suck the following year, and I get your first pick in 2028 also. That would give me 2 first-round picks going all the way to 2028. That would give me 2 first-round picks going into this year, 2026. And I got Shedeur Sanders just in case, right? Like, I mean, because I'm already expecting us, no matter what, to not win more than 6, Cap. 6 would be depending on who our coach is, I'm going to give him 6 wins. I'm going to say to him that if you win us 4 more wins than you did last year, sure, right? Other than that, I don't want to pressure the head coach too much. Am I crazy for thinking this, Cap? Because I know people are going to hate me if I go, Angelo wanted us to trade it down. What I'm saying is it worked for Chicago, Captain.
And Mike,
I did want to take O-line over Brock Bowers. Back then I did.
Yes.
In hindsight, In hindsight, Mike Sarah, I understand. Brock Bowers is amazing in hindsight.
Yeah,
but during that time, I'm one of the people that was sitting there going, we need to get this O-line guy because we need to start to build, right? I wasn't alone with this.
I don't say, I don't say that because I said you have Fuaga there and you need to build the offensive line, and we had just taken Mayer. We had just taken Mayer.
We never even got to develop Mayer. Yes, yeah. So again, hindsight is 2020. I get it. I mean, we could say that right now about Genty. Oh, you would have wanted to take Membu over Genty? I understand that Genty's a talent, and look what happened to him without an O-line. Until we could be honest with ourselves and say, are we willing to invest either draft capital or money to make the best O-line possible? If that's the Spytech plan, I'm in, Cap. If that's not the Spytech plan, you're going to get Mendoza hurt. Brock Bowers is going to be going to his third year. Genty's going to be going into his second year. We got a lot of 4-year guys now that we're going to have to deal with. So, yeah, Cap. Yeah, I need a plan.
I would say, and like I said, it depends upon who the head coach is. Because you throw out Sanders, I'll say it. A person that was very involved in this show no longer goes on this show because of our opinions about Shedeur Sanders. I don't have to say anything other than that. It's obvious. So, and I'm like, no, he's a jag, just another guy. Until somebody shows me that he's not just another guy, if somebody can develop him, and I will say that Stefanski didn't develop him, but if Stefanski is such a great offensive guy, and even he sees that he's just another guy, that to me is an indictment of Shedeur Sanders. That if Tom Brady has been in Shedeur Sanders's corner all of these years and not once, and I was also told by this person in particular that the Raiders passed on Shedeur Sanders 7 times. 7 times. With all their picks, they passed on him 7 times, and this is Tom Brady's team. That is an indictment on Shedeur Sanders. So, having said that, if you said that if the Cleveland was to do this, we get 2 and 2 and 2 and Sanders, and maybe did you say 2, 2, 2 and 2? Whatever.
It's pretty good. I mean, even Chicago didn't get that much of a haul for Bryce Young.
But if you're saying if Shedeur Sanders is part of the equation, my thing is that it depends upon who the head coach is, and who the coordinator is, as to making that happen. Because if you're saying right now, I get a 2 1s and 2 1s and a 1 and a 1, I think is what it amounts to.
Right.
No.
Right.
If for that, no. Because I know what I got with Mendoza, providing I have the plan.
That's the whole thing,
Cap. The offensive line in front of him.
Right. So, and here's what we'll say, right? Has Mendoza shown what everybody's excited about? Sure. And the one time we could say, well, he didn't have the greatest team and he still did well was the Cal year in 2024. But in 2025, for you guys who have not realized that Indiana is pretty much damn near a pro team, they're really good. So if you can put Mendoza behind a Raider team that has a great O-line, which Indiana has, and has an awesome defense, which Indiana has, and an awesome run game and the whole bit, then yeah, man, let's roll. Let's roll. You throw Mendoza in to get hurt, here we go again, Cap. The revolving door of blame games, right? Like, no. If we pick Mendoza without, like think about Drake May, right? Drake May, what did they do this year? Campbell. No question about it. They're like, left tackle of the future, we got to get Campbell. And then that was it, right? If we have an opportunity to do that for this kid, get him some help, right? For real. Then I can see that. other than that, Cap, I really don't want to see Mendoza on the field next year until the second half of the year. I really just don't want to see him get hurt. I just investing in number one.
Yeah. The other thing is that and I'm not doing over 3 because I already can't do cut-ups for this as well.
I thought you were going to end it pretty soon anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. But if we're talking right now, if Mendoza's my guy, then I want to, before we even go to the draft, because we're going to have an inkling what we're doing, because Mike Sarah says, yeah, the Raiders aren't going to let us know because they're notorious not to let anybody know. But the inkling will be what they do in free agency.
Right.
That's the inkling. Because if they go out in free agency and at least try to get Linderbaum and try to get Walker or try to get, I don't know if Creed Humphrey's available because people were throwing out that name, and I know he's a Chief. But what the guys that are available in free agency that are decent, above decent actually,
right,
an offensive line, then you're saying, aha, they are addressing that. So if they're addressing it via free agency with guys that they know that they can play, and also we know who the coach is with the offensive coordinator and with the offensive line coach, then we can see things projecting. And once we see that, then we'll know. So, and I tell you, like I said, Mike, I think JPJ is the only good offensive lineman we have. And yes, I know Miller is on the team, but Miller is in year 9 and he can't stay healthy.
Right.
He's like half a lineman or half a good lineman. He's a good player when he's healthy.
Right.
And he's even lost steps. I don't even know if Miller is if we got a left tackle in free agency that is all that in a biscuit, okay, put Miller on the right side until we know what Grant's going to do. Or maybe we do let Grant be the left tackle of the future, if that's what we were thinking we were going to do with him. That's why I said that I wouldn't poo-poo any of Spytek's picks, because he picked decent people that were not able to play under the authority of who the fucking coach was. So he was hamstrung. Could he have made better picks? In your estimation, you're faulting him on the picks because there were other people available.
Better people that actually proved themselves, Cap. Better people.
I'll say okay. I haven't looked into, because I'm not a draft guy. I'm not a draft guy. The only person on a draft that I know that I can say with authority is that the reason why Dak Prescott is a fucking Cowboy is because we drafted Cook. That's true.
Right.
Because we drafted Cook, Dak Prescott went to the fucking Cowboys. That's one. And the only other guy that I can attest to is that the reason why Malik Willis went to the fucking Titans was because we swapped out of that pick to pick the guard that is no longer probably going to be here, the kid from Memphis.
Okay.
That's on our team. That's 2. Everything else I don't remember because it's out of my wits. But I know those 2 guys because of what we did to get into them. But like I said, would I have taken Fuaga because we had Mayer the year before? Yes, I said that. Would I have taken Membu over Genti?
For sure.
Goddamn right,
sure.
because there are running backs available. But those are good picks. But now we need to fucking deal with the afterthought. The afterthought on that.
Right. And then again, Cap, that's all. As we get closer and closer to draft, we'll see how it all goes. But at the end of the day, again, thank goodness Ashley Genti did not get seriously hurt this year. Brock Bowers did, which, to my point, he already got hurt year 2. So hopefully his body's okay. But we can't afford Brock Bowers to get hurt year 3 also. Now we're really going to be screwing ourselves for taking him at number 13, right? So let's keep him healthy. this is going to be the final year for people like Mayer. 2026 is Mayer final year, O'Connell final year, Tyree Wilson, who I think will end up getting a 5th-year option, because like I said, it's hard to just like go get a different edge, and he wasn't like a bust like how people that he just needed the right. It's not fair to ever blame a player when you've had a different coach every year, kind of a thing. So I still think after Tyree does well this year, he'll probably get the 5th-year option, so we won't get rid of him. Trey Tucker, this is his final year.
I don't think that Tyree Wilson gets that option. I think Tyree Wilson is gone. I think
you really think so. So he's going to play out the 4th year, and then that's it. Because you know what's funny, Cap, is they always say the contract year is undefeated. It's when the players play the very best.
Wasn't that contract year this past year?
No. I'm telling you, all the people that are in their contract years going into 2026 is O'Connell, Mayer, Tyree Wilson, Trey Tucker. Like those are our contract year guys for 2026.
Okay,
so
I only thought you got the 5th-year option for a first.
Well, the 5th year would be 2027 for Tyree Wilson. That's what I was telling you, is that I don't think they'll let him go because the contract year is undefeated. I think Tyree Wilson will probably have a banner year in 2026, and then they'll be like, well, we don't want to all the way extend him, but let's just do the 5th-year option because he can't leave. If we already give him the 5th year. So that's what I was saying. You don't the thing about first round picks is you don't just let them go for nothing. Like you have to at least do the 5th year and then the 6th year option kind of thing. Which is, by the way, Cap, why I also want O-line. Because if you do get an O-line in the first, you know what I'm saying? If you get like a home run O-line, like a Campbell in year 1 or an alt year 1, you get to basically force them to be on your team for year 5 and year 6 before you give them like big money, right? Yeah. So yeah, no, we got to do the unsexy thing, guys. Got to do the unsexy thing.
Mike, yeah, I agree with that. And this was a wasted year. This was a wasted year for everybody that we drafted. It was a wasted year for Lottttttts. I'm serious, man. Lottttttts with a real coach probably would have played this year.
Yeah. Might be something, Cap. Might be something.
Yeah. So yeah, we know the O-line sucked because of coaching. I knew that from jump. Once I saw that Brennan Carroll had zero offensive line coaching experience. Zero. I said, this is not good.
Right.
They didn't ask me though. I would have done a contract. You just fly me, let me live in Vegas for, and give me an apartment, give me my, sustainables, give me basically room and board, a minimum contract. I would coach the offensive line at that.
Right. So yeah, no, Cap. I mean, again, I'm not trying to sound like a poo-poo guy, but I'm telling you that last year, the O-lines that got taken, like, remember how we talked about Tyler Booker from Alabama? Dallas Cowboys got him, right? Tyler Booker had a really good year, helped the Dallas Cowboys out, right? Will Campbell helped the New England Patriots get to the playoffs. The best O-line that did the best stats this year was Armand Membu, right? And then Gray Zabel. Gray Zabel's playing on Saturday as the starting guard for the Seahawks. Like, it doesn't. We don't always have to go sexy picks, Cap. It just, you got to go with what's right.
Yeah, I'm not all about sexy picks. I'm all about quality picks.
Right. Even Josh Simmons for Kansas, like even him, like I could see what they were trying to do with him for the future. But like I said, there were plenty of other ways to go. There are plenty of other ways to go. So hopefully this is the year, Cap, that it does happen. And I really want us to just have a good season where we're all like together in the forward movement. So Who was it that you were predicting to be our head coach? Who did you think it was going to be?
I said Robert Saleh with a very good offensive coordinator, and both Murph as well as Fester are pounding the table for Clint Kubiak. I'm not unhappy with that. I'm not unhappy with that, but I'm like, okay, but I'm also okay. I want to see who their staff is. And I think that Robert Saleh would be able to get a better staff from jump than Clint Kubiak would.
Right.
Maybe
No,
I'm
I'm with you. I'm with you on this, Cap. Just because I want our head coach to be a leader of men, but also someone with enough experience as a head coach that he knows what not to do. Right. But at the same time, I also want the head coach to be smart enough to know, dude, you're not. If it's a defensive head coach style, you're not the offensive guy. Let that dude cook. Let him figure it out. So I would go with what you're saying, like a Saleh and a Brian Dable combo, right?
Yeah.
Or a Saleh,
or Saleh and
Mike McDaniel combo, right?
That's what I said.
Yeah. No, I'm
Saleh and Dable or Saleh and Daniel. And by the way, if Brady if the Bills falter and you got Brady available, then Saleh and Brady as the OC.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, and again, we need somebody who will really like. I'm not low on. I like Mike McDaniel. I understand why people think he's like corky or whatever, but I think if he's willing to step down and be an offensive coordinator, I think it'll be a nice stop for him.
Good. I think he should. That Fester has him going to like Atlanta.
No, I heard Atlanta's going to get it's not Stefanski, it's one of the other guys. But I mean that would be crazy. You know what, Cap? I could see Fester's point because if you give Mike McDaniel that weaponry, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Drake London, they got some good pieces. Young quarterback and Michael Penix. I could see that.
Ryan, I disagree. Oh boy, I disagree with that. AP, okay, and again, I'm not a fan, but at least I'm honest about it. AP was the best cheerleader that this team has ever had, barring any Raiderette. He was the best cheerleader that this team has had. But a leader of men? No. Rich Bisaccia.
That would have been a good pick. Rich Bisaccia would have been a good pick.
Was a leader of men, but he couldn't build a staff to save his life.
Right.
And he wasn't given the opportunity. They fucked up not giving Rich Bisaccia. If you were going to do that, right? And like I said, Rich Bisaccia with the right staff, great. AP, no.
Right.
Again, Brian, that's my opinion. You have yours.
Right. And again, I think that's what we'll do is you're not offending anyone depending on who it is that you believe. There's a ton of people that believe Brian Flores would be great. I disagree. I don't know if he'll be great or not.
I think Flores would be good with the right OC.
Here's why I say I don't know, Cap. He hasn't gotten a second chance to be a head coach yet. And when he was the head coach, there was that whole issue. Even Max Crosby talked about how he hated, trying out for the Dolphins when Brian Flores was the head coach because he didn't have the demeanor to be like a head coach guy, right? Now, I'm not saying he hasn't changed, and maybe that's why so many people are high on him. But am I gambling that again on my team? I understand all of it is a gamble, but I just don't want to get. If I'm going to gamble all the way, then might as well give me Kurt Signetti. Then, like if I'm going to gamble all the way, I'm drafting the quarterback that he brought in to a system that he understands how the quarterback plays. So fine, bring me Indiana's head coach too. If I'm gambling, if that's what I'm doing, but I don't want to gamble. That's why I like your idea, Robert Saleh. Okay, no problem. Give him a good OC.
Again, and I'm saying this just as blatantly honest as I can be. Rooney Rule.
Oh,
Him interviewing with the Giants. Rooney Rule.
Right. And
but yeah,
Well, I mean, the first domino has already fallen anyways. Harbaugh's going to the New York Giants, right? That deal went through. So Harbaugh went with going with the NFC, having Mara, I think is the owner. He's got to deal with Joe Shane he's got to deal with Joe Shane as the GM. But he's got Jackson Dart. I don't know if Cam Scadwood will be ready to go next season because that injury looked pretty bad, but they could draft a running back, or they could get Breece Hall, for example, who's with the New York Jets and is a free agent. He probably wouldn't want to leave New York, so you pay some money to Breece Hall. And then you got Theo Johnson looked pretty good as a tight end. They had Bollinger as a tight end too. Malik Neighbors obviously was awesome up until the the first year. The injury kind of hindered them. Wandale Robinson. So they kind of have like a team that could be ready to roll. So they just need the right person. And I'm just telling you guys, man, that's not us, Cap. We're not a team that's ready to roll. We're a team that needs a leader of men that has a plan. And so I'm with you. I hope it's Saleh. I hope it's Saleh with like a really good offensive coach. Clint Kubiak. Do we know anything about Clint Kubiak as a head coach, or are we only excited about Clint Kubiak because of the offensive mind? Is that it?
And that's it. That's why I said give me Saleh with Dable, and again, I was wrong about Pete Carroll, but I don't change when I say something. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I wasn't wrong about Membu, and I wasn't wrong about Fuaga, but we got two quality guys there. But I wasn't wrong in the fact that I wanted those guys, and those guys are some quality guys. But we got to wrap this, brother, because this is over 3.
Yep. No, we're good. We're good. Just wanted to stop in again. Good show. Nice to have Murph on. Always great to have Raider Fester on the show. And then anything going on with you the rest of the week, Cap, or is this it? Oh, you're doing the Sunday show. Are you doing the Sunday show?
I'm doing the Sunday show, and I am doing a upcoming, I'm not sure if it's this Friday. I think it might be this Friday. I'm doing a show with Peggy. I do know that there will be a Friday show with Peggy. I have to get back with her if it's this Friday or because next Friday I'm on the road. So
I
think this Friday might be with Peggy, but I'll do a Friday show. And I definitely love Murph being on. I definitely love you being on. I definitely love Fester being on. Murph knocked it out of the park, and I love seeing that. Unfortunately, I can't do cut-ups because it's at 3 hours.
Right. Well, you already went. You can't blame me for that. You went past 2 hours. The minute you went past, you were at 2.5 hours with Murph. So I was like, this is screwed anyway.
Yeah. Well, if you can figure out how to do that, then that would, because I'll do Murph cut-ups all day long. So
it'd have to be individual stuff. Well, the easier thing to do is just to see if Murph would be available to come back on Sunday, and then that way make sure that you do less than 2 hours on a Sunday.
Yeah. Well, when somebody's on, I don't like to say, it's only with you, because I know we have to. Well, I wanted to keep it at 3, and we're 3. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because that I want to try to do 2. But when Murph came on, I'm like, hey,
right.
We're on, and I'm gonna roll with Murph for as long as he's on, because that's great. But
right.
It's good to see. But you take care. Don't go anywhere in March from around my birthday, because the one person that's in this house that knows that we are going to be, that we have people to see in Vegas are you plus Anna.
All right. Right.
And that's about the only people. And I'm like, so there's basically nobody except for you and Anna.
There's nobody here anymore, huh? Hollywood's gone. Everybody left.
But see, that's the thing. My wife, I won't say anymore. Just you and Anna.
I got you. I understand.
Yeah, you and Anna, and that's it. And I'm like, okay, so it's me plus one going to shows, and then you and Anna, we're going to China Mama and whatever.
Right. It's always barring my health, but God willing, Cap, it should all be good. So March on your birthday. That'll be
Yeah.
that'll be the big 6-1 for you.
Yeah, and God, let me get there.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, Cap. Have a good night. Good show. We'll see you guys later.
All right, thanks again there, Angelo. And that is Reyes Boxing at IG. I need to remove. Wait, I need to remove it. I couldn't. But yeah, Reyes Boxing at IG. Murph is Raider Fan Radio. Obviously, Murph Raider Fan Radio. Tom or T-Hom at Raider Fester, and he's like the T3. Am I forgetting somebody? It was Fester and Tom and Murph and Angelo. I hope I didn't forget anybody. It was Fester and so that's it. If I forget somebody, I'm sorry. And then of course I appreciate all of you guys being in the comments section, Brian and Matt Marinovich and everybody. Boy, that was everybody here earlier. Mike Sarah, of course, as well. But y'all take care. I'm going to it's actually cold out here, so I'm actually going to go grab some shit and get something to eat. And so we'll see. Hopefully pretty soon we'll find out who our head coach is. We'll know that. Y'all take care. We'll see you on the next show.